What we need to ask right now is Cinta Negra simply firing above Pittsburg Knights, right? Or has PK slipped just a bit from their past performances? That's the question, and maybe we're going to learn a little bit more here in this grand final that'll give us more information about Orlando.
All right, everyone, strap yourselves in. It's time for the grand finals of the MX Regional to kick off. Knights, the Kings, the undefeated team of the region so far in Halo Infinite go up against Cintanegra, who wants to cause the upset on all upsets. It's a best of 7 here in our grand final. If Knights want to be called the #1 in the region, they're going to have to do it twice here.
Poorly played there by Guardian. I think he might have been able to get the jump on an unsuspecting Rocket player, but look at Johan as well. He's going to get double nade on the overshield and do a lot of damage on the double door run. 2 still dead, though, for Cintanegra, and Drift is wasting no time. We knew they were going to come out swinging, but this is a great start for the Knights.
This is a perfect start from the Knights. He's got a little support in the base as well. This is going to be the first flag on the board in under 60 seconds. In fact, it was about 50. That is the start that Knights would have dreamed of. All of the thoughts of that first series now put to the back of their mind, and they're just thinking about winning this thing.
Undoubtedly one of the fastest flag captures in a grand finals history. In Halo Infinite, like you said, just about 50 seconds or so for a flag on the board. They wasted absolutely no time. Atso, the huge start, 4-2 off of the opening.
4-2 off of the start as well, but now Cintanegra is starting to be a little bit more aggressive. Bullet tries to slide in to finish off the kills, but well played defensively here by Knights. Palu now moving through mid-map as he's going to have a lot of space to do so. Dynamo grenades as well, always good for clearing out these spawns, and anyone who's moving from those thruster spawns is going to be ticking, and those shields are going to be dripping.
Talked about just how ticked the Pittsburg Knights might be after the results that they saw, and they are really applying the pressure here, and continued pressure. 3 dead again for Cintanegra, and we're also getting word from production that the Knights chants are also starting off with that flag cap. I think people want their money's worth. They want to see 2 series tonight.
Well, don't blame them either. If I'm there, I want to see as much Halo as possible, and I'm telling you that from home where I want to see as much Halo as possible, so I only can imagine what that energy is like at the moment. Johan picks up 2. This guy is absolutely nuts. The way that he just flicks that battle rifle onto the heads to get that final connection is... There's not too many players in the world that can do that.
Johan the Brohan. Where did that overshield go? There it is. Oh boy, it's going to be a Cintanegra overshield. Mahiko is your man in the courtyard. He's going to fly right in and pick up even more kills. 2 dead again. They find the last 2 in tree. It's a big green gun, but he stays alive. This should be a flag pull, but what a plasma pistol from the Knights. Still 4 dead. Let's see if off of that Atso and Tapping, who have already spawned, can make anything happen.
Well, the good thing about that overshield play was it did the damage required. They got the kills, they've got that flag moving. Now it's about where are those respawns. 2 have already fallen, so Bullet decides, oh, I've got the room to move forward with this flag. He gets it through the double doors, which a lot of the time is as good as home. 2 deads here for Knights, and the last 2 coming off respawn as well. We're tied up at 1-1.
A nice little drop and shoot, wait and bait from Bullet. They drop that flag bottom middle, and they are cool, calm, and collected to let that flag come back home. As you say, they pick up 3 kills as they escorted the flag. And just like that, Cintanegra 1-1. They also get the rockets off of that damage as well.
So 1 overshield was all that was required for them to get that first flag on the board. How's a power weapon going to change the course of this game? Well, in the moment, Bullet's just going to hit shots and headshots that I certainly couldn't even dream of, as he manages to just rip that player off the staircase top rockets and hasn't even fired a rocket at this point. Beatdown will do. Another one. I mean, this guy is playing with his food at the moment. He's got 2 rockets. He's picked up 2 kills and he hasn't even fired them yet.
Racha Asesina, beautiful killing spree. Let me tell you, that play where he's shooting up towards rockets on that crazy angle, that's where I take the rocket launcher out. I do not try to hit that headshot with the BR, but that's the reason that he's on stage here. Drift down low with the Bulldog, trying to maybe see what's going on with that rocket launcher, but now Drift going to get pegged back as well.
Well, it's gets a double. 2, and that's going to be 3 as well, as Magico, perfect switch to pick that up. That final kill, and that's going to mean the overshield is going to go to the Cintanegra as well, with still 3 players in the death screen. Even though Knights got out to the hottest start you could imagine with that flag cap in under 50 seconds. Now they're under pressure once more. A couple of dynamos, that's going to get the kill, maybe even a triple as that player thrusts forward, but it's the spike grenade, it's a zoom in, it's a little bit of a mess. No! Guardian, oh dear me. That could have been something a little bit better for Cintanegra.
Yeah, he had a lot of ideas there, and to be honest, they were pretty close to working. I don't hate the way he played it. It didn't work out with the spike grenade, and in the end, he will lose that 1v2 from the courtyard, and you have to think just a few moments difference there on the double door, double back, as well as the spike grenade. Maybe that ended differently, but that will reset the map just a bit. Now back on board with Atso here. He's 11-9.
Yeah, I think Dan said it yesterday. There's a few moments where you have the spike grenade and you think you've got a frag and you try and bounce it and it just sticks in front of you and you're like, I wish that was a frag grenade. A lot of the time you will say, I wish that was a spike grenade because of the amount of damage those damn things do. But let's see if he can come back from that now as we jump back onto the POV of Guardian. He's got the grapple. This time it's a little bit short, and because of that, he's going to get cut down by Drift.
Yeah, interesting there. If he got to bridge, might have been different because he could have gotten away to the bar. 2 dead as Pelu's running this, and he's going to go straight down bottom middle. Still no damage, but he gets half shielded. 2 dynamos in hand as he enters the double door. This man is fearless. Does not have a grapple, but should be able to just dynamo the return.
Dynamos it, and you can hear the ticks as well.
Yeah.
On Cintanegra, and now 4 dead. Tapping buttons was there alongside the dynamo just to clean up the final pieces. Now Pelu's going to be body blocking all of the respawners that are trying to get through that house, and now it's just going to be tapping B, tapping the flag onto the stand. It's 2-1, and Knights have come back into this one. It was tied up at 1-1. Now they have the lead.
Tapping La Bandera. Nice job there. He'll bring the flag in. 2-1. 6 minutes on the clock, and what a game one to start things off. Back and forth between these two, and Cintanegra able to tie the game, but it feels like past few minutes really have been in the hand of Knights.
Yeah, they certainly have. And a little misplay is the difference between the teams. You've got to go back to that moment where the overshielded player was running in, picked up a couple of kills, and unfortunately just the play didn't come together for him to clean up the final 2. If that happens, that flag is moving, and maybe we're talking about Cintanegra having a lead. Instead, it's the decision-making in that last moment from Pelu running that flag to wrap back round, use those dynamos, and now we find ourselves in a position where it's the other way round, and Knights have that lead as Magico now is trying to pressure a few of these players here for Cintanegra, pushing Knights back inside of their base.
Oh, rocket comes in from Johan. Looks like it was a little bit too deep. Second one's going to connect, so he will take down Drift. What a death nade from Drift as he ekes that out to trade with the Rockets, and Drift's got to be feeling good about that trade, but you pointed out perfectly, Mark, that run from Pelu, and the second he got those dynamos, I think everyone knew that he was going to just bait the flag at double doors, and there might be no better place to throw some dynamos because those things will just bounce and clank and zap around and do so much damage. Played it perfectly in the end, and they'll be up 2-1.
2 dead here. They've got an opportunity to move this flag. It's a little bit of a shaky setup, but if they can get that player dealt with in the bar, they're going to create quite some space here. So flag's going to be tossed out. It looks like Magico did pick up that kill. Tapping buttons is going to be hit by the dynamos. There's a spike grenade down, but the beatdown might be enough as now the last player alive is going to be Drift. Johan is desperately trying to find where he is. He says, you know what? You get your shields back because I'm going to run this flag. I'm going to beat you through those double doors, and even with the damage coming in from the frag grenades, the friends are there to help him along the way, and this should be the tying flag in the game as Magico puts it home.
Very nice teamwork there on the flag drops there as they're going to just make sure that the fully shielded player is the one that brings that in. Pelu was the last player alive. He got really good nades on the double doors. It was not enough. Johan with a heads-up play to drop the flag for a fully shielded Magico. And that will now be tied 2-2. 4 minutes left in the game.
Oh, Pelu, you got to be careful because there was a triple kill on the menu there, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. Nasty Bullet is the first one off spawn as well, trying to play some defense as Tapping Buttons is going to be looking to re-rotate and re-wrap through the double doors. He's got that Bulldog as well, so anyone who's going to be sneaking in those corners, they're going to be dealt with.
Here's the question, where did that overshield go? That should have been there. It is. Finally, Pelu has it, and Johan was trying to turn and burn with the AR. Oh, he's actually got the AR melt combo. He's a specialist right now. Here he comes. Oh, perfect use of eating the green gun there, the teammate. That's going to be a Drift. He says, I will take this green gun for you. You continue on. I'll be back on the respawn. Still, though, it's good defense. Flag run continues, though. Look at Pelu, the flag run master. He might do the same exact run.
Oh, it doesn't quite get through, and it's Guardian this time with a big double kill. Johan putting pressure onto Drift as well, and that's going to be 3 dead, maybe even 4, as Tapping Buttons will be taken down as well. So the return should come in. There is one more player to deal with here, which is going to be Atso on the pillars. He's dealt with by Guardian, and Guardian in that play, vital kills. He now sits at 15 and 12 for his team, and looking across the slaves at the moment, it actually seems like a lot of the slaves are going to the side of Cintanegra. It's just the efficiency of Knights that's been the difference.
Yeah, it really has. An interesting interesting stuff there. Knights trying to get a little scrappy with that run. They try to continue that even though they really didn't have the control that we're used to them seeing. In the end, it did not pay off. One rocket for Mexico. Second one will not connect, but he's happy to swap it out for a Bulldog.
He's going to have to be careful here because a couple of teammates have fallen. However, he's just going to say, oh, don't worry about it. I'll even up the numbers myself. And now he's got Paley to deal with. And there you go. He just picks up a double muerte. And that's going to be an opportunity for them to slow down this flag moving. Drift is sliding across though. And you can see, I think that Magico just about managed to catch the top of his visor as he slid through there. As that overshield is going to be coming up in just a few seconds.
Oh boy, great position on the pillars. He's going to get a free kill on Atso. Let's see if he can get the second one as well. Ooh, Palo, that's the second time we've seen Pelu from bottom middle clutching up on those shots. That's a great win. Little wins like that are going to be huge as you think about inching across this map and getting more control.
Wait for those dynamos now, Palo, as well. If you can get them at the same time as that overshield, this is a free push for Knights onto the Cinta Negra base. A couple of trades coming through, but it's going to be last alive though, and he needs to extend his life for as long as possible. But Pelu isn't missing at the moment. Every single time we see him in one of those 1v1 or 2v1 scenarios, somehow he's picking up the kill he needs to.
That was 4 dead. Look at this. All 3 players have double back on rockets. I think Bullet is already going pillars or bottom mid. This team fight will determine this game.
Only 1 minute 30 left in this game, and it's going to be Cintanegra who get 3 kills. That is massive. It's a brave decision to send 3 players that way. If there's a spike grenade or if there's a rocket that was waiting in that situation, that could have been absolutely disastrous. But this time, it works out. One of those decisions, Andy, we sometimes say, as long as you're doing something together and you all commit to it, a lot of the time it works.
Speaking of 3 dead off the back of this, not only do they get the defense, they almost got the pull, but look at Drift. Oh, getting sneaky there. He does a lot of damage. Johan has to continue the run. He cannot wait, but he needs to wait right now for the rocket damage. He's going to hit the slide. Perfectly timed. He'll get through with full shields as well. They could win the game right here.
This could be the game. 50 seconds left. Lovely use of the thrust again, and even Paley bottom middle, which has been his home ground. That's where he's won every single fight. Cannot do it this time. Johan with the thrust, with the coolness, with the ice, is going to run this one home. And with 30 seconds left, Cinta Negra go up by 1 flag.
What a play call from Cinta Negra. Like you said, Knights was not expecting 3 players to double back on the rockets. Off of that play call, they will clear out their base, push across, a perfect run across, and now they're only 19 seconds away from winning the game.
Just got to be careful here. Just got to be careful, though. It's time for maybe one more push. There might be 1 player in position to get a flag off of that stand. Drift is trying to be that player. He's trying to fly forward, but his teammates are falling around him. 3 players fall here for Knights, and with Johan staring at that flag, saying, "You shall not pull," it's going to be Cinta Negra who take home your first game.
Wow, Cinta Negra in the end. And we're used to seeing them maybe fumble the end of the game just a bit because Knights is known for their late game rallies, but it's Guardian, Johan, Nasty Bullet, and Mexico will close out that first game 3-2 with an unbelievable push. We said that team fight would win the game. We knew that was the case. This place has got to be electric. We're hearing a Cinta Negra chant in the crowd, and they're so happy about that game number 1, and somehow now only 3 games away from taking the grand finals.
And the crazy thing is now, as strange as this sounds, I think this is where the Cinta Negra fans and the Cinta Negra players start to believe they can really win this, Andy, because it's great to win 1 series against Knights, right? To get over that hurdle, but to get up by 1 game when you know you've only got to win 1 series, that is a massive confidence boost for them. Looking across the stats here as well, you can see it's Nasty Bullet this time who is being the game changer, but I also want to give a lot of credit to Johan. There was big moments in that game, and there always seems to be big moments where he just pulls off something and pulls the rabbit out of the hat to create an opportunity for a flag, a kill, whatever it might be. He is always influencing this game.
Definitely Guardian with 14 assists as well. That's absolutely huge. And shout out, of course, to the Mexican half of Cinta Negra, Bullet and Mexico. I was kind of giving a lot of credit to the Colombian players, but Bullet and Mexico putting me in my place, stepping up in a huge way with some big positive numbers in that game.
Yeah, crazy to see again. The one player who seems to be a little bit off the boil in that particular game, tapping buttons, just not being able to find the stats that we usually associate with him. But what a close game it was, Andy. What a close game it was. And that decision that you talked about to 3-man wrap back and just try and get control of the base, it was a risky one, but it was a brave one that worked out.
I mean, absolutely. As soon as we knew, as we talked about during the cast, that team fight was going to win the game, because you have Pittsburg Knights way behind enemy lines. They've got 4 players on the flag, and as soon as you saw 3 players spawning rocks, you might think, oh, this is not looking good for Cinta Negra. This might be a Knights flag. But my God, the last thing the Knights thought is that all 3 players would wrap, and they get wiped twice for a great run. And talk about the thrust play from Johan against Pelu bottom middle. Like you said, Pelu had controlled bottom middle and the Dynamos the whole game. To continue that flag run the way that they did was absolutely huge, and they made that run look so good. That thing was textbook. I cannot wait to see the highlights, because that's a very well-earned game number 1 win.
Yeah, it certainly was indeed. And I tell you what, game number 2 is just around the corner as well. We're seeing the highlights on the screen from Mexico. It's Drift running that flag in that you can see here. That was the first one. That was 50 seconds into the game. And we were like, all right, Knights are back. This is the Knights we expect to see. But it wasn't the Knights we expect to see. It was more of the Cinta Negra we've known to love, Andy, in that game number 1.
And this is so tough for Knights. It's amazing news for Cinta Negra, because like you said, now they're really believing. Their fans are believing. Now they're like, okay, we're really doing this thing. We're 3 games away. There's no stopping now. I think for Knights, they're realizing, we just came off of a nice 3-0 win in the elimination finals. We're back. We're ready to go. Let's strap in for a long night of Halo. And then they lose game number 1, and they're like, backs against the wall. Only 3 games to go. This is really a swing game in that first one, and what a game it was.
Yeah, I think one thing that's kind of standing out to me about something that's missing a little bit from the PK lineup at the moment is just controlling some of the power-ups. We're seeing a lot of them go into the hands of Cinta Negra, and it was the same in the first series, right? We saw overshields, rockets, whatever it might have been. It seemed like the sandbox was always being controlled in the majority by Cinta Negra. That's something the coach has got to get on top of. He's got to start directing the troops a little bit more and making sure they are more than aware of when those power-ups are popping.
Absolutely true. And the Knights fans here, you see, of course, banners in hand, but they have been quieted. They've been silenced a bit after that game number 1, and they're looking for their team to dig deep, because now it will be just a little bit harder. They were hoping for, like we've said, maybe a little bit faster of a first series. If they can get themselves into the second set, maybe that's the mental boost they needed. But here's a Cinta Negra players on your screen, and these boys are ready to rock. This is quite a championship Sunday for them, and already a day they'll never forget, but they have more work to do.
They certainly do. Now, game number 2, if my memory serves me correctly, is going to be Live Fire Slayer, I believe. So, I mean, what a game that is going to be, and what an opportunity for them to go 2-0 up in this series, right? Live Fire, we saw how they were able to win a lot of those individual 1v1s. We've seen how they can hit some crazy snipes, and I just wonder if Pittsburg Knights, we've seen them have in the huddle before this, before the losers bracket, the elimination bracket finals, excuse me, as I get my phrasing right, and kind of having a talk about what they needed to do. The same can be said before this grand final. But at what point do you start looking across and saying, I need more from someone? I need more from you boys, because it gets to that point where you just have to take control. Someone needs to step up as a leader here.
Interestingly, in the last 3 grand finals, Live Fire Slayer is the most played game type of the entire suite of Halo Infinite game types. As we take a look here at the series layout, this next game type you're about to see, I'll run you through the history of the last 3 months with these 2 teams in chronological order. If we go back to May, it was a 50-29 Pittsburg Knights win, but that's really important because it was a Game 5 win. That was when they 3-2'd Cinta Negra. It was a blowout win to win that grand final. They also played it the next week as well. It was 50-41 in favor of the Knights, so Cinta Negra showing up a little bit better. And to be honest, the most recent was that 50-45 we talked about. So Cinta Negra is slowly getting better and better at this game type. Now they're only losing it within 5. Have they done the work to maybe take game number 2 as well?
And do they have the LAN prowess to all of a sudden turn those 5 kills that might not have gone their way online into kills that do go their way at the biggest of stages for this region? We're going to have to find out now. It looks like Live Fire Slayer is loading. We're moments away now. First to 50 kills, Andy. We've been here for many years saying that, but this is probably the most important time to say it for this region.
I was going to say, this one feels special. This one feels different. I want to thank all of you for joining us here on Twitch as well as YouTube. It's been an amazing tournament so far for this region, and all the talent on display, the incredible storylines, the twists and turns. It's been quite a ride, and it's been a grand final that we were quite excited for. This one has delivered so far. Game number 2, Live Fire Slayer, Cinta Negra with a chance to go up 2-0 in the series. Otherwise, we might see the Knights tie it 1-1 and set us up for quite a long night of Halo.
Speaking of long nights, it's getting a little bit longer because we've got to wait until we get into that game number 2. We'll, of course, bring you it as soon as we can, Andy. Don't know when that will be, but hopefully we can get this grand final rolling a little bit quicker as soon as we can, and we can see the continuation of this series. But I mean, this break is great for Pittsburg Knights, right? Because they have just been rocked in that game, number 1. I think, again, you're looking back at that game, and now that we've had a few seconds to kind of digest it a little bit, I feel like Cinta Negra, it wasn't one of those, squeaked out wins. It was a win where you're looking at it and you're going, you know what, they really deserve that. A lot of the time, they were the ones pressurizing the baits of Pittsburg Knights. They were the one who were winning a lot of those battles, and they were the one who were controlling Rockets and Overshield more. If it was one of those games where you're looking at it and going, oh, they got a little bit lucky there. You know what I mean? It was like, it was a 1-0 in overtime or something like that. Then that would be something maybe that Knights will be like, oh, okay, that one wasn't quite going our way. Never mind, we'll move on to the next one. We'll get them. But now, with Cintanegra playing at that level, I think Knights really do have something to be concerned about here.
I think they do, and to be honest, they need to make sure that game 1's not in the back of their mind, because they had the game in their hands. They literally had the flag in their hands as they were running what could have, arguably should have been, the game-winning flag. But that triple team shot that came back caught them off guard entirely and stole the win right out from under their feet. And I think they're going to remember that maybe they don't want to focus on just how that game went, but they need to remember that this team is capable of that. They did it to them once in the winners finals, as we see this crowd here, the Cintanegra side of the crowd. I think you have to have a Cintanegra banner or t-shirt or hat to sit on this side of the stage.
I think they give you one, actually, if you just sit down on that side.
True,
and you have to sign a contract saying, I will cheer for the next... Oh, look at this. I didn't realize how far back this thing went. Look at this. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I was going to say...
Absolutely rammed to the rafters is what it is.
We don't have that phrase in the U.S. That's a good phrase.
I think I just made it up. I don't think we have it either.
The alliteration fooled me. I was sure that was a trademarked British phrase.
It might just be a trademark onset thing, which is yet to get anyone to invest in anything under that banner. But let's. Look at that jacket, by the way.
Chief? What the chief patch on the jacket?
Is that a patch?
This guy's a certified raver.
You got.
It's more of a warning label, I think. It's a warning label. This guy knows how to have a good time. Do not get in his way.
He's not even a Halo fan. He just saw the lasers. Ah, dear me. Anyway, he is a Halo fan. Of course he is. Everyone in that room is a huge Halo fan. Oh, no, let's not look at that. Let's not look over the shoulder. We don't want to see what DMs are being sent over people's shoulders.
That's true. Yeah, you don't want to. That's dangerous territory. Tell you what, do not threaten Raver with a good time. This guy is ready to go. He knows that when these grand finals end is when the DJ comes out. Here we go. Back into game number 2. Live Fire Slayer. Knights versus Cinta Negra. As we said, an opportunity for Cinta Negra to go up 2-0 in the series and continue to rewrite the history of Latin American Halo.
Well, the question is, will they go up 2-0, or will Knights tie up this series? And the third question that now we've seen that crowd, we're all wondering is, what's going to happen to Raver later this evening? But we'll have to find out what happens between Knights and Cintanegra first and get the rest of the information fed back after we finish the event. But this is a massive opportunity here, Andy. Cintanegra could go up 2-0 in this best of 7 if they can steal, or maybe not even steal, I'm past that now, if they can take this game away from Knights.
Oh, absolutely. This is going to be absolutely huge. And a man we need to see stepping up if you are a fan of the Knights. It's tapping buttons. This guy's a household name around the world after his performances in Halo 5, but has left a little bit to be desired in the finals so far. Looking for a big game number 2 from him. Atso as well.
They've got the heat wave, and they have control of bottom middle. They also have control of cuts, a vital place to really establish some kind of presence, as that overshield's going to be coming up. But they've lost 2 players again, a couple coming off of respawn. There's a player trying to flank. Atso is going to be that player, and he's actually going to pick up a double kill here. So the overshield is going to be picked up, you would imagine, here by Knights, as they've established a 2-kill lead.
Absolutely great start for the side of Knights as they find themselves. It was a little bit slower, but a 4 dead overall, and great work on the nest. They have the overshield still pushing bridge. That overshield player really wants to probably push up here to continue applying this pressure. Maybe a sandbag push there to continue clearing out the base.
Yeah, Penny did a great job just to stay alive. He knew help was coming, so he just had to buy the time for that help to arrive. And now you're seeing the score at 8-3. You're also seeing Pelu with a chance to hit a few snipes. If there's one place to do it, it's in the grand finals. But he's not even going to get the chance. Maybe he is. Pelu with a nice body.
Seeing Mira no scope here for Pelu. He's going to pick up an extra one on the pipes and, on the cuts. Tries to lay down a shot towards the scoreboard, but gonna reset for just a second, and you have to wonder, maybe this is a different Knights. Have they woken up here after losing 4 games straight? Let's not forget to Cintanegra in this tournament over the past few hours. Maybe a chance for them to bounce back. They're up by 5.
Up by 5, but Cintanegra again getting a little bit closer. And Johan again with an individual battle, and you know what? I'd be doing that right now because that's not an easy fight to win, and probably one he shouldn't.
Johan just popping off here, and might have been down by 5, but now they're looking forward to trying to get back into this lead. And oh my God, hits him with the LAN wave all the way to the pillar door and finishes it pretty cleanly as well. However, on the other side, it's a little bit of a different story. It's Pelu with a late pop of the overshield. He's going to push into green now.
It should be a really good situation here for Knights as well. They've come back really, really strongly at the start of this game, number 2. A couple of shots missing, a couple of shots connecting, and the help happens to turn up once more, but there is Guardian. Oh my word, it is the LAN wave. That thing is absolutely crunching people.
That thing is supercharged. We ain't never seen a heat wave hit the way that it's hitting down there. Maybe it's something about the altitude in Mexico City, because I'm telling you, that heat wave is absolutely crunching. As you say, taking a look at the score here, 19-13. A crazy nest push from Drift. He is not afraid. Both kills will be picked up. That's great aggression onto the nest push.
And even though we're seeing, like, it seems like Knights in the feed a lot of the time, and Cintanegra being caught off guard, this isn't the kind of score that you can't come back from, right?
Nope.
23-14. It's a 9-kill advantage, but we've seen huge swings in Slayers on Infinite. If you can kind of stagger a few of these deaths, if you can stay alive and get a weapon and an overshield, you can get back into this.
They certainly can. Not down by a ton, but Heatwave seems like the main star of this game. Look at Tapping, by the way. We said he needed to step up in a big way. He's 9-3 in a game where his team leads by this margin. Great start from him.
The 7-kill, the difference has now gone down to just a few less, although it has just picked up magic. Oh my word, what a shot that was.
Something about the way that this man uses that sniper rifle makes you feel a special way inside, if I'm honest. We won't go into detail on that. He's going to stay alive back tower. 2 dead for his side, though, so he'll need to play this a little bit slowly. Impressive to connect with the body there. Body's 2 players as well, but I don't think he has the teammates there to do the damage. Tapping once again, he's 12-4. Triple positive for tapping buttons in game number 2. Maybe this is where he starts to heat up.
He's got the stream.
We got to get that guy on screen.
He knows. They get him. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Pelu's going to pick up a snipe in the feed as well. And at 33-21, now it is starting to get a little bit concerning here for Cintanegra. If they want to go up 2-0, they're trying to slow this game down. The difference is, if you're slowing the game down and there's a weapon like the sniper on the map and you haven't got it in your hands, it means you've got to make the first move. And if you've got someone locking down a lane, it's going to be very, very difficult to do. But now Pelu finds himself with no teammates because they've all just died extremely quickly. And now he's got to try and take down Magico.
Nice job there. Teammates do spawn just in time in the back of tower. That was the last shot of the sniper, so that ammo will be exhausted. Necesitamos tapping buttons. We really need to see this guy. He's 13-6. I don't think we've seen him on screen since the beginning of the game. He's absolutely popping off and just leading the team in a huge way. They're up 38-25.
And at 39, it could even be 40. And now we're starting to get into steak dinner territory. 3 players from Cintanegra for once more. Only 10 kills to go. Bullets trying to cut that down a little bit, but this would be a comeback of all comebacks. But if anyone could do it, you get the feeling it might be Cintanegra. Tapping buttons picks up yet another one. Drift is trying to fly in to clean up some of these one-shots. He'll get one. He'll get some shots onto Johan as well, and somehow stays alive long enough for Atso to come and join the party.
Atso wants to clean up this kill on Mexico. You don't want to let your players around. Nice job. You don't want to let the players around back green stay alive. They can be such a nuisance. You don't want to waste too much time. Now they're up 44-29. It's been a very different game number 2 for them, and now they're looking to close this one out. Only 6 kills away. 6
kills away with a heat wave. That's certainly going to be one. Guardian will be eliminated. And as Drift picks up yet another, it's just a little parade towards the series being tied up at 1-1 here. As much as I'd love to see Cintanegra pull off the impossible, it's called the impossible for a reason. That's because it cannot be done, even though they get 3 kills in a row and maybe say, hey, hold on a minute, we're about to prove you wrong.
46-34, and like you said, a little bit of a victory lap here, and it's a great effort so far from Cintanegra, but maybe waited just a little bit too late to apply the pressure. Overshield is up. Let's see if they can make a hero play. Nice little shot on Drift to hit the first one.
Well, Atso's managed to pick up one, and that's all you really need here. Just pick up one, then you can flood forward to the overshield, put the pressure on. Atso has no idea where he is, but he finds out eventually. Overshield for Pelu, beat down to close the game out, maybe even a snipe. but it is going to be tied up at 1-1 this series now as Live Fire Slayer goes over to Pittsburg Knights.
They are back, and they are back with a vengeance here, and the Knights fans, they're keeping it conservative. I like this. They know that their team is has what it takes. They're not getting too excited just yet, but it will be tapping Pelu, Atso, and Drift, who will take game number 2. They do it also in a pretty comfortable and convincing fashion, and just like that, we are tied up 1-1 in our first grand final.
And they needed that, Knights. They needed that, not just the win, but the way that it was done as well. It was a very, very dominant performance. 50-37 is a very, very strong scoreline, and also it looked like the pressure was put back onto the shoulders of Cintanegra after that game, Andy. And now you have to wonder how important this game 3 is going to be, right? Because Cintanegra, having just taken a little bit of a beating, that's something we haven't seen them had to deal with so far in this tournament, even against Knights. So now that for the first time really in this tournament, they have to bounce back and show a little bit of fortitude.
They certainly do. A nice 13-kill lead and win for Knights in the end, and we do start to shift things over to King of the Hill Streets. And I gotta say, it's kind of a perfect game number 3, if you ask me, just because we're gonna slow things down one hill at a time. It will be an absolute bloodbath and full-on carnage for each of those, and the teams will have to work so hard to each get every single one of those points. So it's going to be a fantastic way to continue this series. We're tied up 1-1.
And tapping buttons coming to life as well. You highlighted in that first game, it was a little bit of a slow one for him, but he introduced himself certainly in the scoreboard. We didn't get to see any of his POV, but we did certainly see the stats at the end of it, Andy. And that's what you want to see from that man, right? The experience, the knowledge, and the coolness to perform at that kind of level when it matters is what he's all about.
Absolutely, and these guys, like we said, they know what they need to do. They know the task ahead of them. They've been in many, many grand finals, not just in Halo Infinite, but in prior titles as well, and they're going to take this one game at a time. And if you're on the side of Cintanegra, you're thinking, we let that one slip away a bit, and now we're all tied up. That one-game lead is all but gone.
Wonder how Raver's feeling right now. That's all. I've got to be honest. I'm starting. My thoughts are going towards like almost as much as the match is like, what's Raver up to? Someone needs to keep an eye on him in the crowd.
Raver, have to see. Well, there's one thing that's for sure is Raver's having a great time wherever he is, or he's getting ready for an even better time. That is for sure the case.
Well, here is some of the replays from the 4 gentlemen who are on the stage at the moment, the 8 gentlemen on the stage at the moment, I should say. This win over from Johan. We've seen this angle a few times, right? It's such an annoying angle to try and fight against. You can just see the head of your opponent, and you kind of slide off, you mistime the melee, you slide over the top, or whatever it is, it all gets a bit messy, and then you find yourself in the death screen and a few extra bullets, dealt into your body. But Paley had a really solid game as well. We saw him kind of patrolling around the tower and nest side of the map quite a lot. Magico hit a beautiful snipe, which was maybe the only way that they could have got into it, was a few more snipes that created openings, but it wasn't to be. And now we find ourselves going over to Streets for King of the Hill, and this is a Knights game type in my opinion.
I think so. They've played so well on this game type historically, also on this map, and they're going to be ready to go, especially off the momentum of that Slayer. Cintanegra felt like they had some really good momentum coming off that game 1. I think that has been fully arrested and brought to a halt by that game 2 Knights win.
I agree with you. Sorry, I was just having a little sip of coffee there because I got the feeling we're going to go quite deep into this series and we need to be fully alert and fully ready for what is about to happen. Cintanegra, though, what would you be saying to each other right now after that loss? Because it is the first time we've seen them kind of take a bit of a battering so far in the tournament so far.
First off,
in the tournament so far. I could have just said so far.
Well, I'd probably be speaking Spanish, to be honest, because all of them speak Spanish, so I'm not going to do that. Don't worry, as it would do a great injustice to their team. But I think what Cintanegra needs to focus on is what do they need to do, and I'm thankful if I'm a Cintanegra player or fan. I think they're going to focus on one hill at a time on King. If this is Stronghold Streets, like you and I have talked about before, I think Knights take it. I think Cintanegra is just going to not be able to deal with the aggression. But because this is King of the Hill Streets, they can play this a little bit slower, one hill at a time. That's all they really have to worry about. And on this first one, just make sure that they're getting the numbers, that they're getting time when they need to. Maybe they bait out of the hill just a bit here as we get to B-Rail. And if they can take the first hill, I think they'll be sitting pretty for the rest of the game. And I think they just need to focus on that start.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you've summed it up perfectly. I think it's just about as you say, taking it step by step, taking it one hill at a time and seeing what happens from the back of that. And, we've got Wes give us some information, of course, things to talk about. It's Knights obviously lost the Stronghold Streets in the winners bracket final, so that is going to be Streets, not a game type and a place where they've had much success against Cinta Negra. So maybe this is an opportunity for Knights to really show how well the level they're performing at by managing to take a map that they weren't able to take, even though the game type is slightly different, don't get me wrong, against Cinta Negra.
Yeah, it's a great point from Clutch. And also on top of that, if we look at the Streets objective game types, especially Street Strongholds like Wes was just talking about, the fact that this is one of the few game types that they've actually split online. So we actually have seen Cintanegra take Stronghold Streets as online as well as now at LAN, and that game type has been split. So you've seen a little bit of split results across this map. When I look at Streets, it's also worth noting Cintanegra has also beat the Knights 50-38 on Slayer Street. So it feels like they know how to play this game type.
Yeah, they certainly do, and they certainly should. But it's one thing to know how to play it. It's one thing to do it when you're under the bright lights, right? And we always talk about that, how it can be different for some reason. It just seems like you make a different decision. Maybe a teammate tells you to do something you wouldn't usually do, and you get a little bit split on how you want to play it. But I'm sure these players are going to be more than aware what is on the line now and how they have to perform. And I will say, there's one sign that I've seen, right? Just on the edge there, on the left-hand side, the gentleman in the red jumper.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a risky one to print. I'm saying that's a risky one to print.
I was gonna say that is a risk indeed. When you talk about jinxing, there might be no greater jinx to have a poster that says "We are the champions." That's risky.
Question mark. So let's get a pen and put a question mark on the end of it.
It's risky, but it's confident, and you got to admire the confidence.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's if you're a fan, you want them to beat the champs, right? And you want Knights to come back and show what they're really made of here. And it is officially standing room only. Look at the back there. Look, everyone's standing up. You see that? They're not just really tall people on big chairs. They are actually on their feet, standing up. The whole place is packed.
I was gonna say, you called it day one that this place would be standing room only, and honestly, that's the only way to go when you have this many people in the venue. Up next, game number 3, going to be King of the Hill on Streets, and it'll be absolutely back and forth between these two. I mean, to take a 2-1 series lead, big swing game in the series without a doubt.
Yeah, certainly is, and we're going to have to see if Cintanegra have got a little bit of fortitude here as well, because Knights seem to be finding a little bit of a flow. However, it was the objective game type that did go to Cintanegra, and it's the objective game types, incredibly, where Cintanegra have had the success. The Slayer can let slip through your fingers if you're able to close out these objectives. And look at Johan once more. This man's battle rifle is something special.
It absolutely is. Mahiko also with the Stalker rifle in hand, going to drop his BR now for a little bit of a powerful combo as he'll head to tires, 1 dead for each side.
Yep, that's going to be 2 dead, though, for Knights, as the rocket will connect. And now, with the Stalker rifle and the rocket combination, drift might not be long for this server either. Pelu, he fancies a little bit of as well.
Whoa!
Mahiko! Oh, almost got the triple as well.
Wow, Mahiko, the confidence popping out, trying to do even more damage on driveway. Gotta love that. To be honest, if they bring that confidence and then they execute in those plays, they certainly could win this grand final right here, right now.
This is a great start. As you say, a great start here. Already almost halfway captured on this first hill. It seems like the teamwork is there. They've locked down these spawns, and at the moment, Knights looking a little bit desperate, just flooding down the driveway as the first 2 alive. No damage done, just looking for straight 1v1s. That's going to be difficult because you've got Bullet just staring at you with a shotgun in his hands, and that should be another kill for him now.
I tell you what, we talked about how Cintanegra wanted to start this, what they needed to do. This is exactamente the way that they wanted to start this game, without a doubt. It's exactly like we said. Play this, bait the hill, get as much time as you can on the board without overextending, and they're about 60 to 70% of the way done.
60 to 70% of the way done, but that isn't the whole job done. As Drift is now going to push some shots onto Guardian. That's going to be 3 dead, though. Pele's going to be last alive. He's trying to scarper away into tires as Bullet now decides, hey, I know we've got numbers on our side. I'm going to just sit in this hill and soak up a little bit more time. It's about 80% of the way there. And there's one more push here for Knights. And I love this from Bullet. Just leaves the hill, baits them in. Pelu takes the bait, but somehow stays alive for a few seconds longer.
Look at the timing from Bullet. He's going to pick up another one as well for the double. That'll be 2 dead. But Mahiko, the only player alive for just a second. Johan's going to spawn front C and win a big battle against tapping buttons. Fantastic work. That will put them 3 dead, and it's really good switching here from Cintanegra. They will continue scoring, only a few points away. This should be the first point. It will go their way. They strike first. They lead 1-0. Johan
is a game changer. If you're out BRing someone like tapping buttons from that distance and with that confidence, says all you need to know. Pele's going to have the rockets, but it looks like he will also fall, so only one gets used, and I think tapping Tapping Buttons is looking for revenge now. He's flying out. He did not enjoy that last few moments.
I mean, and what a play from Johan. He spawned in C. He spawned in Tram right there. Knew he had to win that battle. Otherwise, his solo teammate is going to get taken down. And in the end, that is a huge piece of play from him to get that first point. But they do find themselves 2 dead. Need to regroup here as they push on the Tram hill.
Great shots here from Tapping Buttons, just doing so much damage, and Atso's in a position to clean it up as well. And this looks like a much stronger hold. It looks like a much more convincing hold on the Tram. We know how hard some of these hills are to break. This is arguably one of the most difficult here. And you can see that Cintanegra, they're doing what they can to get back into it. They're throwing themselves forward. It's 2 dead, though, for them as Halo is controlling this arcade side of the map.
Let's see what Halo can do here from the rail. This should be their point. Of course, they will get it. And as they so often do, they bounce back in the game. They tie it up 1-1, and now it will be 1 hill apiece. Prelude tries to stay alive, but gets sandwiched from Neon's end A. That'll be the first kill going the way of Cintanegra.
Cintanegra inside of that hill. Even though we do see the Tram being converted to the Knights. Ooh. It looks like they've got a full setup here. Drift is trying to be a bit sneaky. That'll work out for 1 kill. Now the grenades come in. Now the help comes in. Magico's going to even things up, though. It's 2-2 now as far as numbers. And there is Magico again. This man has been making plays.
Let's see what Bullet can do with the rocks. There's 2 dead. This will be the 3rd kill if he gets it. He does. The last one's a spawner. So this should be guaranteed time for them. They will begin controlling again. Let's talk about just how important this is. The 3:27 left on the clock. If they can get this courtyard, that will then set them up for that Neon's rotate.
Looks like at the moment, Bullet's not quite sure where he wants to watch, but he's kind of gifted. That kill by Drift just sliding out without really checking any corners. Atso's trying to push up on that pink street again. Bullet stays alive after doing the damage. And look at that time. Look at Johan. He's again just cleaning up these kills. Guardian now in position to do so. And now we might get 2 as Palu will forward. It's Johan who actually manages to clean up yet another kill. So Palu's out of there. He doesn't want any of this.
Once again, it's the Colombian duo, Guardian and Johan, just doing everything they need to do to get the kills on the board, get the points on the board as well. This is now the home stretch. Look at the scoreboard. 80% unanswered here on the 3rd hill for Cintanegra.
And where is the pressure? You're probably asking yourself, where is the pressure? Well, Bullets just picked up a double kill, so they can't even get across the map. And Guardian! Guardian! Doble muerte! That is absolutely insane. Just snapping onto people with that stalker.
Ay, Dios mío, the pride of Colombia. Look at this guy. Amazing stuff from him. As they will keep it going. Atso now needs to answer back. They find themselves down 2-1. What a hold from Cintanegra. No points on the board. Then huge plays from Guardian and Tires to pick up that double kill.
And we mentioned as well how you can transition so easily from that PD statue hill to this hill that you see right now. Unfortunately, Pele is going to be here, but it does not matter. 3-4. The team challenged 3 players, I believe it was, just challenging down that pink street to get it locked down. And now Cintanegra have a huge opportunity, especially with Magico set up with this Stalker rifle.
Might need to drop that Stalker rifle for some BR damage in a second, though. These grenades are coming in thick and heavy. Just needs to slow this down. He knows they have the hill, but he might be able to be sneaky here, but Atso able to get the rockets as well.
Yeah, uncontested as well. A little bit of a concern. Now Makiko is going to eat one of them. There's a Bulldog. And oh no! I tell you what, you're not too bothered if you're a Cintanegra fan on how those rockets turned out, because the damage was done. Only 1 kill really kind of got into that kill feed and made the numbers how they were. But Pele now on the flank is looking to make these players pay a little bit now. You can see that Knights have got finally control of this side of the map. The first time we've seen them do it. Such an important step to getting control of this hill is flipping those spawns and getting that PD spawn in your hands.
That's a great play from Pele there. He had to win that 1v2. He gets the first kill and shoves the second player all the way down to the bottom of Neons. He did everything he could, but now his team is pushing an odd man rush. It's not looking good. 3 dead for Knights yet again. This will be the 3rd point.
3rd point, and now the worrying thing here for Knights is the hill goes bottom middle. And that is a death trap here on Streets. If you are on Cintanegra, you know you've got 2 minutes 40 left. You know you could just play Slayer if you want, because at some point there is going to be a free option of a kill bottom middle.
3 still dead for Knights. They have 2 spawners at the back of Tram. Let's see what Pelu can do. He needs to be a hero over at the cafe, but he's getting all sorts of pinched here. Let's see if he can win this one. He does it again. To be honest, it's deja vu. He just did that in the same exact position to Guardian. Finally, he'll be taken down. 4 dead for Knights yet again. This could be a Cinta Negra game very fast. without even hitting the time limit.
I think Johan just got told to get out of that hill as well. He dipped a toe in and then he went, "Ooh, it's a little bit chilly. I'm not up for that." And maybe it was an instruction coming from some of the more established players like Bullet on this team, because at the moment they have 2 minutes to hold on. Just make sure that Knights do not step in, and when they're 4 dead, they ain't get anywhere near that bottom mid hill.
You're totally right there. Just playing Slayer on this one. Johan dips a toe hand inside and they say, no, come back. We're going to go ahead and outslay our opponents heavily here. Look at Mexico as well. Just going to play this sneaky stay alive if he can on the B stairs angle, and he is just being an absolute nuisance. All sorts of damage. 3 dead again for Knights.
And now Drift sits here and goes, "Oh, what do you want me to do?"
Yeah,
I pick up 1 maybe, but he gets stuck as well. Like, what do you want me to do? I've got nothing. I've got no opportunities. I cannot go forward. I cannot survive. I'm just going to go into the death screen, and now you are going to see how these stats start to add up. And I'm looking across the stats at the moment, and there is Nasty Bullet with 22 kills and 10 deaths. The man is on a mission.
Unbelievable. Plus 12 in this game. This is absolutely crazy. And one of the risks is trying to slaying out on this bottom middle hill. It's a great play call, but one of the risks is that you might expose your team for a point, for a fast point, if Knights can get the slaying numbers on the board. But to be honest, Cintanegra still applying really good pressure. I like the play call on this bottom middle hill. It's so hard to control. It's so hard to finish. Let the Slayer game play out. Cintanegra right now looking really good. About 69 seconds left on the clock. Nice.
I mean, the thing about playing it like this as well is even if it takes them a long time and they get that point, there's barely any time on the clock for them to control the next one, so you can just slay them out and make sure they don't get that point on the board. Being up by 3-1 is kind of the essential part of this, and that's what Cintanegra did to give themselves the choice to play like they are at the moment. Mexico with another kill in the kill feed, and now you can see Atso. It looks like Knights don't really know how they want to try and approach this one. They want to try and get in the hill, of course, but it's such a difficult one to lock down.
Look at that situation. Atso has to double back, but he's weak from tires, and now it's just going to be Guardian gets a little bit of extra time, gets a thrust. He just wants to stay alive, and the time will continue to tick down. They just need to make sure this point does not go the way of Knights, but to be honest, even if it does, it would still be such a huge feat for Knights to have to come back into this game.
30 seconds left. Gonna be desperate plays, but Guardian's gonna be there to do exactly as his name would suggest. Johan last alive. He doesn't lose these. It's quite simple. Johan doesn't lose these. It's gonna be a challenge, I imagine. He still didn't lose it. He just was forced to back down as the Rockets are coming up as well. But as you say,
oh boy,
Bullet's gonna get that kill. Rockets are in the hands of Halo. He might pick up a double, but there's 2 players also swarming. They get the player out of the hill, and now you're gonna see it stop moving even more. 25 seconds left for them to hold on.
They're going to just wait and bait here. Once again, they're not stepping in. Take a look at the timer. It's going to continue to tick down. Knights only need 1 or 2 seconds in the hill. If they're able to get it, that will send it to the next hill. They'll put another point on the board, but now 10 seconds left.
10 seconds left. If they get it, it has to be a perfect hold, and I don't see it happening with the way that Cintanegra have been hitting their shots, even though they've been doing so much damage, even though they've been trying so hard here. Knights, the double might be the end of things here. Drift is the last alive, but he only gets to watch the game disappear in front of him. He stands up and gives it some beans as well, because he knows now that Cintanegra have a real opportunity to step forward and call themselves a champ.
And before the game was even over, we had the Cintanegra chat happening, and of course they're now popping off in the audience. You love that. Johan jumps up, celebrates with the crowd as the time ticks down. It's a great game, number 3, King of the Hill on Streets. From the side of Cintanegra, they will go up 2-1, and now only 2 games away from stealing the throne of Latin America away from the Pittsburg Knights.
And I've got to be honest, none of us, absolutely none of us, if we're being honest, who are on the talent team, saw this one coming. We thought this was almost a shoo-in for Knights with the way they've been performing all year long, that this would be their crowning moment after a long, long wait to get back into the LAN environment. But there is a new challenger in town, and even though there's a long way to go here still in this series, Cintanegra look like a different beast who are hungry to pick up that trophy.
26-14 from Nasty Bullet. In that game, we kept an eye on his stats the whole game. He ends at positive 12. Huge numbers to put up against what has, until, as we said a few hours ago, been the best team in Latin America for quite some time.
So now you can see a little bit of dejection on the faces of some of these players on Knights. Understandable as well. Not used to being in this position whatsoever. I mean, you know these guys a little bit better than I do, Andy. You've been to a few events where they've been there. We've watched them in North America. Who is going to be the voice for them to step up?
It's a tough call, right? I think we just need the Atso Drift duo to do the thing that they usually do and just absolutely go on a rampage around the map if you're on the side of Knights. And if they do that, they're going to pave the way. But man, Cintanegra has not made it easy for them whatsoever. 2-1 as you see, and we now set our sights. Get ready for Oddball on Recharge.
Oddball on Recharge. Now, Recharge hasn't been good tonight as well. Cintanegra have had their number a little bit in the Slayers. And there is one still at the end of this series if it does go that far. But Oddball a very different game type here, Andy. Knights have shown that they can play with some control, but Cintanegra have shown, I mean, at this point, I don't doubt that Cintanegra cannot achieve anything in Halo Infinite with the way they've been playing.
I mean, it's been incredible. The way that they played that game, and even on the first hill, I was really confident, right? The way that they played that damage, even the timing of Bullet. Was it beautiful or what? He's sitting in the hill as 3 players are pushing caution and tires, and he just tiptoes out before he's seen it all. He baits the first player through arcade, gets the second kill in music. I mean, they're just playing perfect timings here. We'll take a look at the highlights in just a second, because quite a game it was.
Yeah, quite a game indeed. As we will indeed take a look at the highlights in just a few seconds' time. But I think King of the Hill Streets, it's one of those games where it's won in those first 3 or 4 hills, right? Because if you can get that 3-1 lead, I feel like the game is done and dusted. Even if you're trying desperately hard to get that bottom middle hill, the amount of time that it takes, Andy, it's just almost impossible to save yourself enough time to even get back into that next hill and hold it down.
Absolutely. This was a place for Mexico, just not afraid, no fear, flies into a battle. And even though he's going up against some of the most legendary players in the region, he's played alongside them and with them for a very long time. He knows what he's challenging. And we saw a great game, too, from tapping buttons, but largely silence in game number 3 as well. Cinta Negra, time after time, just felt like they were putting all the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah, they certainly were indeed. And Atso, even though he had some good plays and even though he was trying to drag his team back a few times, with some of those individual moments, it was just the control. That's the thing that's really standing out to me as well, is even though we're seeing these challenges, we're seeing these individual battles being won that I keep kind of talking about, there's also an element of control and there's an element of organized aggression. Every time you're seeing them challenge on a street, there's multiple players from Cintanegra, and that's so difficult to deal with if you have that kind of coordination as a team, because even if you get the first shot, you can't beat 2 players shooting at you quicker than you can kill both of them yourself, so it's just not going to happen. And Cintanegra, if they can keep this teamwork up and they can keep this momentum going and they can keep shaking that bottle, then maybe, just maybe, we might have a new king.
I gotta say, I want whatever Johan's got in that bottle, because that thing is super powered, super charged.
Leche?
I don't think so.
No?
Oh, okay. Come on. Don't be shaking a water bottle of milk. Come on, that's strange. Oddball Recharge, your game at number 4 here in this best of 7. A huge opportunity for Cinta Negra to go up 3-1 in the series and be 1 game away from being the title holder. Pittsburg Knights desperately want this game to tie up the series 2-2.
Just a reminder, it is a best of 7 though, so even if Cintanegra do manage to win this game, Pittsburg Knights still will have to go to Slayer Catalyst. And I mean, even if Pittsburg Knights win this game, Slayer Catalyst, if they don't win it, I'm worried for them, because Slayer Catalyst, with the way that Cintanegra have been shooting, it just seems like that is a game type they'd pick to play at this point.
Absolutely. Last time these 2 teams played Oddball Recharge was around early June, by the way. It was going to be a 200-134 win, a 2-0 win for the Pittsburg Knights. We'll see if they can repeat it. If they do, we'll be tied up. If not, it's a very different scenario for Cinta Negra. Let's see if they can stay hot and keep the momentum.
What a moment this is, not just for the series, not just for the final, but for Latin American Halo. Knights down 2-1 in the series. Cinta Negra closing in on one of the most historic wins that we would have seen across the globe in any region for quite some time. Is this the changes of the guard?
That's the question, and what an abrupt change of the guard it would be. Knights not only undefeated in this tournament coming in, of course, here, but also largely undefeated in the entire year. Since Halo Infinite came out, these are your regional favorites by a long shot, and Pelu right there somehow gets a trade there with Mexico, and they will drop out. But my God, what a Cinderella story for Cinta Negra. What a run they've had. They find themselves 2 games away from taking the title and the throne as the Kings. of the Comunidad Latinoamericana. We'll see what they could do. A small lead for them early on in the first round.
So Drift is trying to cut off this rotation that's happening as well. He's got a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. Magiko is going to pick up 2 kills, and Nasty Bullet's going to be there as well. So now he has to think about playing the ball, and that's a difficult position to find yourself.
Wow.
And he does such a good job to get it off the map, but also loses that shock rifle. And looks like the shock rifle actually might have been caught before it fell off the map as well. So 7-1 is the score. Cintanegra with a slender lead, but also stopping Knights from really getting any kind of setup established there.
That's a hero throw of the ball. Great job by Drift to identify he needed to get that ball off of the C-plat. Like you said, I think the shock rifle should still be in place somewhere. We'll keep an eye on that as well. Not a ton of points on the board, not surprising. These teams looking for a little bit more slaying control before they rack up some time.
Well, Guardian is doing some damage onto players bottom tower. He knows the Drift is still there. He's still trying to finish off that kill, but turns the attention to the Oddball. And this is something that stood out to me, Andy, that we don't think we've given Cintanegra enough credit for. As soon as they get kills, they recognize now is the time to do the thing that wins you the game, whether that's Oddball, whether that's get in the hill, whether it's rotate to a stronghold. They are immediately on it. However, one thing they have missed out a little bit on here is, of course, that camo in the hands of Atso.
Yeah, let's see what Atso can do. 3 dead. Mahiko's the only one alive. They should have guaranteed time here. They're going to find Mahiko as well on the 2-stack. He's ready for those spawns. These are big kills from Atso. This is one of the players, like we said, Atso and Drift. If they start to heat up to their normal status, they could easily steal this grand final back.
Good time on the board. There's 1 kill. There's the repulsor. Johan in a 1v1, and Atso will clamp down his battle rifle onto the head of the player to take him down. That's the first time we've seen Johan lose one of those fights in some time.
I was going to say, Atso absolutely just dunks on Johan there. A fantastic shot, even though he got repulsored all the way across. He's not done yet. Great damage on Nasty Bullet as well. And Nice starting to look like their normal form a bit more here, huh? Still 3 dead for Cintanegra.
Yeah, that objective is just causing a few more dilemmas for Cintanegra here with this setup. They want to be aggressive, they want to keep pushing, they want to get damage down, but it's just a little bit of a distraction as Johan will once again be the first kill this time as he falls. Atso's staying alive for now, but it's going to be pushing. It looks like Magiko is in a sneaky position, but he's going to get enough damage for a teammate to trade, but trades are great if you're Knights here. They can rotate away as Johan is going to have a 1v1 versus Drift, who is just going to have that Oddball in hand.
Like we said, historically, Knights is the favorite in this game type. They're so far looking like that might be the case in this one as well. Up 55-22, but still a lot to play here. They're only halfway done in this first round.
Tapping Buttons last alive here, trapped in tower. Drift is going to be spawning out towards blue as well. So this is an opportunity for a setup here at Elevator for Cintanegra. Let's see what they've got in store for this hold.
1 dead here, it's tapping. Drift knows he needs to wait just a little bit, get the right damage before he pushes in as well. Finds the first kill, that's going to be big. They find 2 on the push, they'll trade 2 for 1, and the push continues here on pipes.
Drift just trying to see if he can spot someone out. He knows there's someone in the vicinity. He also knows the shock rifle's up. Bullet looks like he's got away with that camouflage. Look at that team fire coming in onto Drift as well. And look at the score. Knights, they did have a far, far more convincing lead just a few moments ago, but now they find themselves in not such a comfy position. Palo is going to win a huge battle against Bullet, though, but he had the camouflage, so now the power-up is a non-factor, and it looks like Knights have got that ball back to Elevator.
Oh, nice little shot here from Drift as well onto top control. Second one does not connect, but it's enough damage to halt the push across control for Cintanegra. Gotta say, every time we go to Pelu's screen, or even if we watch it off screen, the man is not missing shots. The Colombian representation on this Knights roster, he has been delivering. We'll see if he and the squad can get back in this series.
Drift is determined to challenge that kill and get that kill, but it wasn't to be. Bullet's now going to push in. That's 2 dead here for Knights. Make it 3. As the last player alive is going to be eliminated as well. And no play ball, Andy. No play ball is going to cost Knights here. Even though they're just a few moments away from taking round number 1, you are also seeing that Cintanegra have a chance here with this pipe setup.
Yeah, here comes the throw tate from Bullet. Just going to drop it and get over to pipes as well, and going to make sure that any pressure that's coming in from Elevator or Gold will continue in accrued time. Like you said, no play balls. Definitely, oh boy, someone wants to join the party. That was going to be Drift, who decides to grapple in, and he was quite eager, quite anxious. Johan, last player alive. Look at the nades coming in from Johan, causing all sorts of trouble. Still no ball time. It's going to mean that the Knights have to delay a bit. Huge plays from Johan in the 1v2 from the back of Elevator. That's what this guy is capable of. He keeps delivering as the last player alive, time and time again.
Bullet's going to be moving in on Tapping Buttons as well, who is the last player alive here for Knights. He's trapped on those pillars. He's going to be taken down, and now there is an opportunity for ball time, and by the time I finish the sentence, the ball is back in the hands of Cintanegra.
2 dead for Knights. What can Bullet do here? They need to make sure that they're expanding. When they get ahead, get more ahead. Make sure you're pinching the spawns exactly where you want to. Bullet's just going to hold top gold. These next few kills are going to be big in determining where this round goes. 81 to 65.
81 to 65. Ball is down. 3 are down, though, as Palo is now the last player alive. He'll be eliminated. That's 4 dead. And all of a sudden, what seemed like a guaranteed round here for Knights has turned on its head. 81 points is the target here for Cinta Negra to get into the lead. That has just been overtaken. They go into a lead with 1 minute 20 on the clock.
So much information there. The fact that he got that whirlpool angle onto long haul, saw those 2 players even put shots into them, that's going to be absolutely huge. Atso's the first to get a kill, though. They will be traded out. That's big teamwork. Guardian needs to stay alive if he can. 2 dead for Cintanegra momentarily. This man advantage should slow things down for Knights.
Should slow things down, but at the same time, that ball was played out to the front, and you can see that big play ball now forces Knights to overextend to try and do something to get that ball in their hands. They're going to get it back to blue, but now the opportunity for the respawners to fight is coming. Guardian's trying to do what he can. A trade will happen. The ball is in the hands of Drift, but is he going to be able to get around this corner? The ball is rolling agonizingly towards the edge. Can Bullet get there? Yes, he can. He grabs it and just needs 5 seconds.
Oh my God, the ball not tossed out of the repulsor tunnel. That will be the first round going to Cinta Negra. They're 1 round away from taking this game number 4. My God.
What a comeback. Whew, what a comeback that was. They were down by about 50 points or so, I think, at one point, and managed to rally, and it was all off the back of that play by Johan. It might not show up in the stats, but him staying alive, picking up the damage he needed to, was absolutely instrumental over at top 8. But off the break here, Pittsburg Knights, again, showing superior opening strategy. They'll have 3 dead.
Yeah, it's so interesting because time and time again, we're seeing Pittsburg Knights with great control, great 3 dead, great leads, great multi-kills. Everything on screen looks good. If you just look at snapshots of these series between these 2 teams, you'd think the Knights is taking this. But Cinta Negra overall just really dominating in the strategy category. It feels like their overall approach to these game types is what's paying off. That's what's squeaking out these wins.
Going to be 3 dead here for Knights momentarily. A player comes off the respawn to make it a little bit more different in the kill feed. Drift. Bullet just snaps onto him again, and Bullet's been shooting straight in these last few games. He's currently sat at 12 and 9, 4 assists to his name, but also the most objective time for his team. And if your objective players going positive, you're in a good place.
What a game number 4 as well. Really, this one no exception. This entire series and really every match between these teams, not only for the past few months, but especially here at the Latin American Finals here in Mexico City, have been fantastic. I'll tell you what, I'm having a great time. We thank you all for joining us here in this show. It's been a fantastic grand final, and we are not done yet. Many more games to play yet. Mexico on your screen trying to make the push here through Whirlpool and Pipes.
Again, just snaps on. It's the headshot. Now he's got 2 more players. He's got 4 more Royal 2 moment, but no, it's maybe not quite that kind of comparison, as unfortunately he'll grapple back into his own grenade. And Drift will pick up a kill with that shock rifle from the feed, though, which is going to give numbers back to Knights here. Cintanegra find themselves 3 dead, but who else but Johan to appear and maybe try and level that up.
That's another good shirt. We're sending in Johan, which when you send in Johan, the man just does the damage that you need. Atso on your screen, though, has something to say about that. That'll be 2 dead for Cintanegra momentarily. He tries to get another one, but it feels like Cintanegra has been on top of the kills that they have needed each time. However, Knights once again leading in this second round, now 27-0.
A brave challenge. Drift with a couple of grenades just to slow down that push. Johan is in the death screen for now, so it's up to Mexico, Guardian, and Bullet to try and get the kills that are required. Big challenge onto Drift as well, who's under all sorts of pressure, and the job that was assigned was perfect. And now Johan is back in the game. He's trying to get aggressive. Atso taken down by him. First target eliminated, as now he's got 2 more challenging him in the Whirlpool.
Oh, he gets another one as well. That'll be 2 dead again for Knights. Tapping's going to spawn all the way on C plat, which is going to give them some really nice angles here, but they get spotted out. That's a huge spot. I think it's coming in from the side of Guardian on the other one, just making sure that he sees those spawners that are coming into gold.
Tapping buttons, 21 and 16 in this game. 27 points, though, is the real only stat that matters here in round number 2, and it's in the favor of Knights. It's a very slender lead, but it is a lead. And you've seen Drift again in the kill feed with that shock rifle. He is doing a lot of work, and it'd be good to see if we can catch some of it.
I was going to say, we've also been talking about tapping, how we expect excellence out of this guy. He actually drops the plasma pistol before he gets it off, maybe just a little fraction of a second on the weapon drop, a little bit too early on the animation, so he'll get taken down in the end. Look at this, Drift trying to do everything, and he'll find his teammates now down as well. That'll be 3 dead, maybe a ball toss up to the bat ledge. The ball cannot be tossed just yet, but what I was going to say right before we saw that exchange was tapping has certainly stepped up. We've been expecting big things of him. He's 22 and 17 in this game, but they need to make sure they close this one out.
Movement here from Bullet, really impressive. Just denying lines of sight. Now he's in a position to help out his teammates as well. Getting shots onto the spawners as well. Atso has no idea where he's being shot from, but only Bullet can answer that for him. As now he thinks about that oddball. Just to grab it up. We'll get it towards the bat ledge. Can get the throw in as well, and there's a little respawner to grab it. When you still got that shock rifle in the back of your hand and 2 more grapples, well, it could be a problem here for Knights.
He certainly can. He was last game. He expects to do the same thing again. 17 and 13, by the way. Take a look at the deaths across everyone. Really, Drift is the only one that has similar deaths, and 17 and 14, everyone else with a much higher death count at this point in the game. 2 dead for the side of Cinta Negra, and they're finding the 2 spawners in Whirlpool.
Drift should have a little bit of a field day here. Ball has been rotated back to Longhorn Blue, so another setup for Knights. Cintanegra did bring it back, though, with that hold they had a few moments ago. 35 points and rising to 22, but it is still so tight between the two, and now you're going to see Drift maybe not having the impact he would have wanted to with that camo. 1 kill before it dissipated, and then the trade coming in immediately. So now Cintanegra trying to force that play ball. It looks like that is the case, as Guardian decides it's not worth getting those kills on the board. It's more about just holding Knights on this side of the map.
2 dead for both sides, and I couldn't agree more. It feels like a little bit of deja vu. 3 dead now for Cintanegra of the last round, right? It was right around here, 46 to 22, when we saw Cintanegra climb back into this game. Minute 10, though, left on the clock, so a little bit less time for them to play with here.
Hey, they like making it difficult. They like making it entertaining, Cintanegra. They could give them 30 seconds, and I'd still be interested to see if they can do it. Halo's going to be taking down a no shields. Of course, Guardian's going to reach out that one, and now it will be 3 dead. That oddball is down as well. But look at these spawns. They've all just spawned in front of Guardian. He's got to deal with the whole Pittsburg Knights team. That is unfortunate, to say the least.
Those are wild spawns. You could just tell based off his POV, and I think a lot of people watching at home as well, not expecting them to all go down like that. He gets caught out, and as a result, that's 4 dead for Cintanegra. Guardian is your first spawner, and they're just going to play Slayer here. They should take this round.
They're actually going to grab that oddball and bring it back, which is a little bit of a risky play, but maybe just keeping it in close proximity where Cintanegra have to force their way in is a good idea. Maybe just throw it out bottom mid. Good decision, Drift. Now you've got the shock rifle. Now go and have some fun.
Yeah, nice little loop. Tries to tap on Johan. Johan's not too interested in that. 1 dead. We'll see how these kills go. Not over just yet. There could be a hero hold coming in for Cintanegra, but they need the kills right now.
I'd say it should be one of them. Taking down the no shields. Keeping my eyes on this kill feed. Keeping my eyes on the number. 2 full for Cintanegra. Drift is going to be caught off, though. They might be able to wrap this back in towards pipes. If you can get around this corner, there's an opportunity for a hold. Johan is there. 10 seconds left. He's taken down, but there's 2 players also down from Knights.
Where do these kills go? Look at Mexico. There's a trade. Guardian, last player alive. Guardian versus tapping. That's it. That's the round. In no position to grab the ball, so that will be 1-1. And how fitting. What other way could we have it here, Mark? Of course, we're going to a round number 3 in our game number 4. The round winner here will take the game. Do we go 3-1 Cintanegra, or do we tie up the series 2-2 heading into game 5?
Well, tapping buttons is going to get the first pick, and he should be able to collapse on the second as well. A couple of frag grenades are going to go down, as Pele will be moving in to pick up that camouflage. So once again, the opening strategy works for Knights. They secure the camouflage.
Feels like their opening strats time and time again. They're so effective. It really is mid-game or late game where Cintanegra has been stepping things up. So Knights just need to make sure if they play this game all the way through, they could steal this one out from under Cintanegra, who, as a reminder, took that first round.
1v1 here for Pele, goes for the nade instead of just trying to hold the angle. Should be able to pick up the kill with that plasma grenade, though. At least walk around the corner and clean it up. Camo disappears. 2 dead here for Cintanegra. No ball time on the board for either team yet.
Halo playing great, as we said, in these last 2 rounds of ball. And honestly, the whole series, my God, Johan just doing Johan things at top gold. Picks up another one. That was 3 dead for Knights. Bullet needs to clear out top gold. He does it without taking any damage as well. That's a huge kill.
Huge kill. He's got a couple of grenades as well to try and stop this push coming in from Atso. He knows that he's up in that attic. Only 1 point on the board at the moment. Nobody's able to get any kind of semblance of complete map control. Now with that grenade, you got the feeling that the flush is going to come in here from Knights, trying to get rid of Bullet, trying to make sure they've got somewhere to push from. Good
patience there from Knights, and to be honest, you see Bullet there, like you said, missing just that shot on glass. That is the difference maker in that push, and interesting battle here. Johan wins that against tapping buttons. A little bit of a back and forth between those two all series long, all day long, you could say, on Championship Sunday. It was 2 dead for both sides, so now Guardian going to try to figure out how he could push here across long haul, maybe go up in the glass.
Now, at what point, Andy, do the nerves start to influence this game? Cintanegra have been so good. They got that first round on the board. They start to think, maybe if we win this next round, and we're just 1 game away from being a champion, when do they start to really affect things? Because I'm starting to see a few shots not quite hitting the way they were, unless you name Bullet, of course.
I agree. I was going to say the same exact thing. We might already be seeing those nerves hit. Little ball toss here, and now going to be a hold for Bullet. So we'll finally see some extra points on the board. This kill would be big. A nice perfecto from Bullet. He'll hold that angle perfectly. Also grapple the ball. No need to expose yourself. There's some extra nades, which, to be honest, were coming in. So it's a nice use of the grapple there, and they will now put a few points on the board with 2 dead.
Good advice in general life that you give in-game as well, Andy. Always a good thing to do, as Bullet now is going to give the lead back to Cintanegra. They get 20 points. Play ball will come in, and how tightly contested that's been, 20 points might be enough. We saw Knights in the last round. They had that sort of 20-30 points advantage. They were able to slay out towards the end of the game, having gained that cushion. We'll have to see if Cintanegra can do something similar, but at the moment, there's a lot of pressure onto Magiko here. He's trying to escape with his life and should be able to just about do so, but you know that pressure's going to be coming in soon.
Nice shot from Mexico, takes out the green gun. I was wondering when that thing was going to come out. Picks up the first one, not aware there's another one at gold, so it will be 2 dead. Johan, last player alive for Cintanegra. Again, the man does not lose battles when he's the last player alive. That's a big, big difference maker. Pelu still going to grab the ball, and he also kind of sneaks it around the corner or maybe through that wall. Not a bad job with the grapple, and
that's
you gotta do what you gotta do.
I'm saying that is David Beckham-esque. That is a free kick. That is just bent round that corner. That was all it is. Outside of the boot, inside of the boot, a little bit of finesse on it. That's all was really required to get the oddball back into pipes, but effective it was. However, at the moment you can see they're trying to rotate this ball, but they're all kind of trapped here, Knights. They have to be very, very careful of a few grenades and a push that comes in, because if they all die here, they might give a full setup to Cintanegra, but they seem to hold.
Yeah, really impressed with Knights in this moment, and to be honest, in this entire game of ball. Atso will get the trade against the shock rifle in the end, but let's not forget, yes, Knights are known as the best team in this region, but they've had some tough competition today in the likes of Cintanegra, and even when they find themselves down a round and down 2-1 in the grand final, they dig deep, they win that second round, and they continue leading in the 3rd round as well.
Well, statistically, it's very close between the two teams. Very, very close. The only thing that is a little bit of a difference, I think, is maybe the assist column, with Nasty Bullet not really having as many as everyone else in the game. Sometimes that happens. Not everyone can be influenced on every single fight on the map, but now you're seeing, once again, Knights with a lead. It's 44-21. Cintanegra have their hands on the ball for now, but it looks like Johan's going to be forced to play anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. Atso on your screen, by the way, not Guardian on your screen here. We're looking at Atso's POV. He's 34 and 34. So we go over here to Drift, just holding down control, and now 44-24 with 1:31 left. It feels like we've seen this scoreline in all 3 rounds. The first time it went to Cintanegra. Second time Knights were able to close it out. Just about 90 seconds left on the clock.
Pelu managed to pick up 1. You can see Drift is on the flank now. Magiko tries to get away, and they're trying to force that oddball. Big, big challenge coming in from Magiko with that shock rifle to eliminate the last player. And tapping buttons now is the furthest forward, and he is fresh off that respawn. And in a few moments' time, at the end of this push, is going to be Cintanegra, who again have turned this game on his head.
My God, look at this, just like that. 3 points away, and like you said, they tied the game up. Great damage coming in from Johan. The ping's going down on the Atiko as well. They're going to know that push is coming in. Back elevator, kills are traded out, 2 dead for each side.
Play ball was made, and they don't have that lead. Even though it's a 2-point lead, is slender, is enough. And now you're going to see with 60 seconds left, Magiko's going to have to do something crazy again.
And then you need to realize here, 60 seconds left, right? There's enough time to get a really well-constructed push, if not 2. They don't need to panic here. Get the right damage. Make sure you're pushing together.
That's going to be challenging, but Johan's getting shot from inside the turbine as well. Johan now trying to escape, and there's the cut from the mid-bridge from Adso. Adso does what he can to slow down this push.
Oof.
Drift is trying to stay calm. He's trying to stay collected, and he's trying to pick up that oddball and get Knights back into this series. 46 seconds left. Pelu has the camo, and this lead is looking like it might become insurmountable soon.
This is looking dangerous. I think Cintanegra, they did panic. I think they pushed a batteries push. Somehow Johan's behind enemy lines. He's picked up 2. He's 3 dead. This man's insane.
I don't know how he does it. He just sees gaps that others don't, and he seems to hit shots. A ridiculous play again from Johan. He has the ball in his hands. Cintanegra needed to make a push. They had no other option. They make the push required, but on the rotate, Johan's been cut down.
Also, what a rotate. This rotate was predicted. It was foreseen. It was told in the tails, and even though they thought they might get away with a control rotate, the Knights were ready for it. But still, the slaying of Cintanegra. Tapping buttons, last player alive. Traded out. 4 dead for Knights here on the home stretch. 18 seconds left, and they're down by 15.
Down by 15. If they hold, then there's a chance. 2 players diving forward from Pittsburg Knights. They know they have to get involved in this fight. They know they have to try and force a play ball. But also, you know that Cintanegra realize they have to get into a lead. It's tied up at 69 all. The ball gets reset.
Oh my God. 12 seconds left on the clock. Everything to play for. 3 dead for Cintanegra. Last player in pipes. This should be a Knights win.
It should be a Knights win. It should be a Knights win, but I've seen some crazier things happen. 2 players trapped in tower now. They might win the foot race here. Pelu's trying to do what he can. And now, unfortunately for Cintanegra, Knights clutch up in the final moments.
Wow.
So much to talk about at the end of that game. But we are tied up at 2-2 is where we find ourselves.
Oh my God, Knights find a way. In the end, they force the play ball at back C. They also get the kills as the ball was reset. And they trap the last player in pipes. It rotate to Whirlpool, which in the end was a bit risky, but it worked out very well for them. It was a great play call. Look how narrow this was across the 3 rounds, 206 to 199. Let's look at some standout stats on the board. 38 and 30 from Drift.
38 and 30 from Drift. 40 kills on the board as well for Magico, but unfortunately the 40 deaths alongside it. But I mean, Andy, what an ending to that game. So much to talk about. The attempted rotation just cut off. And I think you're looking back at that game and thinking, even though holding elevator could be a little bit risky, right? Even though if we lose that first pick, we know we're going to not be able to win the game. We know how strong that hold can be. Surely you've got to back yourself.
That was interesting. I mean, Johan, I want to see his POV desperately of how he got into back elevator to pick up that double kill, especially when Pelu had the camo. That is insane. And I agree, it was a pretty aggressive rotate through control into Hydro. Before we could even blink, the ball had already been rotated, and you wonder if they just either faked the rotate and brought it back, or if they maybe just held elevator, like you said, maybe they would have found a better result in the end. Just a crazy sequence of events, and the Pittsburg Knights, got to give them credit, they tie the series 2-2.
Wow, what a series this is. And now the pressure is firmly back on the shoulders of Cinta Negra. I mean, we were wondering how they'd bounce back, and they did it pretty convincingly in the previous game. But now after losing that one in such a close fashion, this next game is absolutely huge, Andy. Oh, this is crazy. We're getting closer to that bracket reset as well. This is the craziest thing about it. We can have a lot more Halo to play tonight.
And that's what the 4 guys on your screen are looking for, a bracket reset so they can rightfully reclaim their throne. They did not expect to be knocked off it earlier today in the winners finals after an undefeated year of Halo Infinite. And now what's scarier and scarier about Knights is they look like business as usual, right? Not smile on their faces. They know exactly what they need to do. And now they find themselves 2-2.
Well, I did notice as well, there seems to be a few more Pittsburg Knights signs appearing in the crowd, just a few rows back. There seems to be, they're getting back into the series, and the fans are starting to like take off the hoodie, and all of a sudden there's a Pittsburg Knights jersey underneath it. I think of the word, sorry everybody, the jersey underneath it, and I think they're starting to believe a little bit more here. A few more smiles on the faces, a little bit more thoughts towards the kings of the region picking up that crown. But I mean, sheesh, I mean, what a series this is.
You're even getting to see a Knights selfie live. You don't always get to see that on stream, as these fans are happy with what they've seen so far, and Johan's going to have to keep shaking the secret sauce, and then we'll see if he can dig deep in that game. Great performances, once again, from the entire side of Cintanegra. We don't want to count anything against them there. It was a fantastic 3 rounds of ball, but in the end, Pittsburg Knights will outperform them to steal that game number 4. Tie the series up, and we go to a game number 5, Slayer on Catalyst.
Slayer on Catalyst, the most unpredictable game type for one of the most unpredictable series that we've had so far. Andy Dudinsky, I mean, I don't really know how to kind of tee this one up any more than that, to be honest. We'll take a look at some of the replays from this last game, and every single round, Andy, every single round came down to the last few moments. It was insane. It was so much fun to watch. Also incredibly stressful, I will say. It was.
I'm glad that we didn't have to be on the stage here. I'm glad we get to kick back, relax, and watch these games with all of you online, because there were some highlight reel moments, and it does feel, as the games go on, like Knights are looking stronger and stronger and more cohesive. Once again, if you might win that first round of ball, but you give them an inch in that round 2, they're going to come back and reverse sweep you in ball. And it feels like they're finding their normal form, Mark, and it feels like this team might be sending us to a second series.
Yeah, you get that feeling, don't you? I don't know what it is. I'm sure everyone at home is thinking, yeah, this is going to a second best of 7, isn't it? I mean, I just got a text message as well that said this is going to a second best of 7, isn't it? And I said, yes, it is. You know, that kind of thing happens. But Johan, again, really good plays from him. But Bullet, for me, was really a standout player. Some of those individual battles he was winning. The battle rifle was looking crispy at times. But on the other side of things, Knights, I think it was kind of a game where everyone stepped up in those different moments, right? Tapping Buttons was there with that last escape with the oddball in round number 2 to get them back into it. There was a few plays coming in from Atzo, which secured camouflages, which, as we know, absolutely vital in those close moments towards the end of the game. And Knights as a unit finally seem to be clicking together a bit more.
They really do, and it felt like there were a lot of individual heroics from them in the first outings between these two squads, right? A lot of multi-kills from your last player alive, which sure look great on screen, but when it's the last player alive, really you're just kind of saving a little bit for the next push. And now instead we're seeing a lot more control, a lot more timing, and you're seeing more like 2-3 dead on the side of Cintanegra much more often.
Yeah, you certainly are indeed, and it's something that hasn't been the case, as you say, so far when we've seen these two teams meeting up. As we see the darkness starting to really creep into the arena as well. I'm sure that Raver is enjoying that because he knows that those lasers are going to get even brighter.
He's
Hopefully they're pumping some music in as well. I'm sure he's having the best time. Hey everyone, by the way.
He really is.
How you doing?
I do wonder. We need to get. I mean, I think Raver's having a great time. I'm going to ask for a wellness check on Raver at some point, though. I do want to make sure. I want to make sure he's having a good time, but we just want to make sure that he's doing okay with all the as the venue gets darker, the lasers get brighter, the music gets louder. He might have too good of a time if we're completely honest.
Raver really comes into his own.
Yeah. We've seen that a few times before, but we want to thank you for hanging out with us for the grand finals of the Latin American Mexico Super live from Mexico City. We're very lucky to be covering these games. It's the two best teams in Latin America representing both Mexico as well as Colombia. Players from both countries on both teams, by the way. The best of the best here, and they have delivered so far in this grand final.
They certainly have. It has been a grand final worthy performance from both of the teams. Just a little player break, as is scheduled sometimes in these longer series, just to make sure they can use a bathroom and do everything they need to do. You know how it is. It's always good to be able to just leave the stage for a few seconds. So we'll apologize while we wait for the players to get back. In fact, no, do you know what? For once, we don't get to apologize, Andy, because this is actually scheduled. This is part of it. This is normal.
That is, when you have a best of 7, the players do get around 2 minutes of time, which, to be honest, is not too much to ask for them after a pretty wild 4-game set. They will have a chance to just step away from the stage if they need to. As you said, get a drink, use the bathroom, etc. They'll be back on stage in just a moment, and they have a lot more Halo to play here. 2 more wins needed from either team to close out this series, and depending on which team wins it, it'll be a very different result after our grand final number 1.
So a stage referee there has multiple communication devices. You can see the radio in hand, the phone was going in the pocket. I don't know what else is going on there and who he's trying to get hold of, but
he's got an earpiece as well.
He's a contactable man. He's got a pager, I'm sure, as well.
Easy to get a hold of, but a very busy man, the stage manager, as we've talked about quite a bit this weekend. And for some reason, we've taken a strange fascination with stage managers, league operations, and
vision mixers.
The vision mixer, the elusive vision mixer. Yep. Coming from the year 3045.
I'm gonna start. Start a new account.
I think when
Vision Mixer 4 is gonna be flying at you from top mid with snipe.
I think the next time I meet,
you can do about it.
Next time I meet a Vision Mixer, I want to ask him, like, what does my future hold, Vision Mixer? Like, what do you see in these visions? What's coming my way?
A Vision Mixer that isn't wearing a cape,
because Lord knows I need to prepare for it. It's been a wild few years, and I tell you what, I could have used a Vision Mixer for the past few. Would have helped.
Yeah, this is yeah, you're 100% right. We move over to Slayer Catalyst next, which is not going to be the last game of the series. We'll see Stronghold's live fire as well, which is certainly going to be an entertaining one for sure. I'm interested to see how effective Cintanegra are on Stronghold's live fire as well, because it seemed like their King game was a little bit up and down, right? And you can say the same about Knights here. Obviously, Knights went on that really, really good run where they managed to cap 3 hills in a row to tie it up and send it to that overtime, but it seemed like when they had focus as a team on where they wanted to play around that hill, they seemed pretty good. But it was when it got a little bit hectic, it seemed like Cintanegra struggled a little bit on those hill games and started pushing one by one. I think that communication is going to be a key for them in that game to make sure they're all on the same page.
Oh, without a doubt. Take a look here now at the series layout. If you're just joining us, fantastic time to join the grand finals here of the Mexico Regionals. Knights versus Cintanegra. We are tied 2-2 heading into the game type that Mark was just talking about. Slayer on Catalyst. Stronghold's live fire will be guaranteed thereafter. However, if the game types are split, we will go to a deciding Game 7 on Slayer Recharge. And if we take a look at Slayer Catalyst, as I mentioned earlier, these two teams have not played this in a grand final over the past few months. However, Stronghold's live fire we have seen on the board. That was a 250-183 win about a month ago for the Pittsburg Knights. Might be something to look out for. But first and foremost, I got to focus on this upcoming Slayer.
I wonder who's going to get control of that skewer as well, because that is a weapon which certainly is dangerous in a lot of these players' hands. And now it looks like the break is over. I certainly hope it is. I hope the players are refreshed and ready to get back into the action as we head into the game, which is going to put one of these teams ahead. The crazy thing is, Andy, if this one goes to Cintanegra, then maybe, just maybe, just maybe, they'll be thinking one more game. But for Knights, they've got to send it all the way. They've got to reset this bracket. They've got to send us to a second series. Guardian, what have you got for us? We're back live here for the MX Regional Finals.
That is the question. We're looking for a full send, and that's what Cintanegra wants to do here. Some good damage off the opening, making sure to not get too cautious. Johan's actually going to hit a remote detonation to open things up. Another kill coming in as well from Mexico.
2-1, the opening here. Maybe an opening for that player to try and make a play on the overshield, but we'll never know, as it will actually be down bottom middle. Johan now is going to have the sword in his hand. Still the battle for the overshield here, Andy, and you can see both teams playing with a little bit of trepidation here. Yeah, certainly a little bit of hesitancy coming from both sides of the stage. 2 dead. Johan wants to fly right in and clean up this kill if he can on tapping. He loses them, though. Loses track of him. Now tapping has full shields undoubtedly for this engagement, but Johan seems to have his number all weekend long off the back of all that damage and confusion. It will be a Guardian overshield grab. It'll be melted right away, though. 6-3 the score. 6-3 the score. So Cintanegra doubling up on Knights. Important 1v1 battles being won as well. Halo might be, I was going to say in trouble. But he turns trouble into good fortune. A few spawns come in to help him out as Cintanegra lose 2. Here's the question for me in this game. Some unfortunate sticks coming in from the side of Cintanegra. Look like maybe a team kill, but it will still be 3 dead for the side of Knights off of the back of that. And Johan now going to have the skewer in hand, and he's ready to skew. Boom! There's one for the barbecue. Tapping buttons is going to be grilled and put inside some sort of soft bread in a few seconds' time. But I want to go back to talk about that play we just saw from Magico. I think he stuck tapping buttons. He managed to clean up another kill, and while he was dying on his way to the grave, he also managed to get that beat down. I'm pretty sure it was a triple kill, which has swung this game back into the favor of Cintanegra. Now Johan, with the skewer, has got the chance to hit a shot to give them numbers and give them the opportunity to push. I mean, huge play from Mexico. He's on 6 kills when there's someone in the game on 0 and one another on 1. There's huge numbers from him to start this thing off, and another kill also will go Johan, but feels like every time on the other side, Atso is your power-up man. He knows where to go. He knows where to be. Should be able to clean this one up, even though Johan did not make it easy. He'll try to keep this game close. Still has about 50% overshield. 50%. Oh, no. Is he going to land? Oh, he sticks the landing. Oh, he sticks the landing. The light bridge this time is found.
Not always found, right? Sometimes you see you'll fall to the depths that it's a very long fall as you head down. Mexico, by the way, on the other side is 8-4 at this stage, still putting big numbers up. But Knights, once again, they seem to be a team that bounces back. They come back in these games regardless of the lead you might get. They know what to do to get back in control of the game. They're playing this slowly, unsurprisingly, on Catalyst.
Playing it slowly, playing it methodically, which I think is going to certainly help them out a little bit. Outside doing a lot of damage cross map at the moment. His teammates are kind of playing off the back of that initial damage. Magico now moving in himself. Palo should be eliminated. Keeps not only himself in the positive column, but also keeps his teammate alive. Guardian, he's currently sat 1-4 at the moment. 3 assists to his name as well, but this has been the man to watch. He's sat 9-4 with 3 assists to his name, and now he's going to be challenging, tapping buttons as well. This should be a win for him. He cleans it up. He's got the sword, but he doesn't have the lunge.
Wow, he thought about it there, and it's the second time we've seen Mexico go for a play like that, right? You might remember his Red Room play just flying out towards Tram. He's not afraid to go for the extra damage, and it really pays off in Halo Infinite, especially when you have the right teammates around. It will be 3 dead for Cinta Negra. Mexico was, for a moment, the only player alive. He's 10-6, but this game now, 25-22.
Always been that little cushion though for Cintanegra. Even though Knights have got it a little bit closer, they've made it a little bit more problematic for them. There's always been that little gap, and it's going to extend even more. Guardian is going to pick up a couple of kills, those grenades. As the overshield is also alive and well on the map. Bottom middle, looking like a freshly wrapped Christmas present for either of these teams. Atso's trying to be aggressive and push past it so that Pelu can pick it up, and it looks like that tactic has worked. And now Bullet, he's got an overshield player in front of him, but sends him into the abyss.
Oh my God, is that the turning point for Cinta Negra? Now they're up 30-24. Repulsors the overshield off. What looked like the perfect play from Knights, pushing past the Ovi, making sure your player grabs that. In the end, repulses the overshield off. Now they're up by 7. A huge swing for Cinta Negra.
Drift has been playing this corner for quite some time as well, and it's going to be Pelu who's there to help him out, but 31-26. That could become 32 very quickly. Whew. That one was from downtown. That was a long way away, but it was brought home pretty quickly, that kill.
The momentum was heavily in favor of Knights over these past few games. They've bounced back in this series in a huge way. In that oddball as well, but this is now very different. 34-28 for Cinta Negra, and they have really stepped things up.
They thrive in the chaos, Cinta Negra. It seems to be where they can play fast, where they can play loose, and they can let that natural ability run free. That they have the ability to win games, but now it's just a 4-kill game. To put that in perspective, that's 1 team wipe from Knights, and we are tied up.
Oh boy, and Pilugad with a gun like the skewer and grenades that he's got here. It's a nice team. Oh boy. Hatso needs to be careful. Kills will be traded out in the end. Cinta Negra answers back from that Pelu push very well. They will maintain their lead by 4.
Big reload now on the skewer.
Boy, too easy.
He's going to rearrange the vertebrae for sure. Overshield coming up once more, and it looks like Knights have managed to pick up 3 kills in quick succession as well. So Pele just pinning them all back. That should be an overkill here for Atso, or whoever wants to go for it. But I think they're a little bit worried about where the players are coming from. Pele's going to make it a little bit easier for them to deal with. There's a spike grenade. That would have done huge damage. He cleans up the damage on one, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't know there's another one behind him.
He didn't, but the overshield player's pushing in, so they're going to bring this one back. Look at the score. 37-36 now. They're going to take the 1-kill lead.
Make it 38 as they add another one as well. Tapping buttons also has the sword. Atso is trying to be aggressive, use this overshield in the way that it's designed to be used, but by the time he gets there, Drift has already taken down Guardian, and now you're seeing Knights start to roll. They're starting to look like the team who want to be a champion, who want to reset this bracket, and most importantly, for the first time in this series, they want to take the lead.
We've seen them do it time and time again. No matter how many points they're down by, they bring these games back through perfect teamwork. They make it hard on themselves. They do it the hard way, but they've done it again here. They'll now lead 44-39, but the game is not over.
It is not over, but the difference has been overshields. All of the overshields you've seen have been in the hands of Knights. That was something I highlighted. They were struggling with a little bit earlier on in that winners bracket final. Johan, though, still not struggling with the shots. If he had a grenade, he might be in a position to pick up more kills, as Atso is going to be flying in. He maybe doesn't need the grenade. He just needs the battle rifle, but he's made to pay for missing 1 bullet. And that is the level we are finding ourselves at in this final.
Incredible late game work from Knights. 47-42, only 3 kills away from closing this out. And now Guardian here trying to keep this game close. They're still within 4. As we said, this game is far from over. Still lots of Halo to play. 4 minutes on the clock.
Knights just completely slowing it down as well. They know they don't have to do anything. They know the overshield's coming up. But Cinta Negra will know that as well. If they can pick up a couple of kills here, if they can work out what to do to get their hands on the overshield, maybe there's a chance for them to come back into this. Palu's looking to make a play, though. The overshield, the player's going to drop. He misses, but so does Guardian. Guardian doesn't pick up that overshield, but it's going to be the 50th kill going down.
Wow.
Again, a chaotic end to another game, but this time it's going to be PK who come out on top.
50-45 is your final score there. End that game number 5. And as you say, they will take the series lead after being down 2-1 going into game number 4. Tapping Palu, Atsu, Drift. Got to be feeling good and maybe ready to reclaim that throne. That's certainly what they want to do. They want to send us into a very long evening in Mexico City, and the fans love it.
I wish we had audio for the crowd, but I need to say it. You know, look at the energy that's in that arena right now. Someone's got the Master Chief helmet in the background there and holding it up high. Hopefully that wasn't the one that was attached to the Master Chief who brought the trophy out a little bit earlier on. That would be a little bit savage, but nasty bullet, unfortunately for him. Just not being able to get going in that game. But Palu, so many times we saw him in that game, Andy, just picking up the vital kills at the vital times. He ends up with a +4. Every single player doing the damage, and 13 assists to Drift as well. That is a huge amount of work done by him.
Big numbers indeed. We talked about how Halo and Tapping, we needed to see them step up for this team, and they certainly did that in that game. 14 kills apiece in a game where you win by 5. Those are big numbers.
So now we move forward once more. The next step in the grand final, in this epic encounter between these two teams. The story's not done yet, ladies and gents. There's still a few more chapters to go as we move towards live fire, and I believe it was Strongholds as our next game. I'm tired. I can only imagine what these guys are feeling like on stage.
Yeah, this has been a long 3 days of Halo for these guys. And on the side of Cintanegra, they might be thinking about how we were leading this series 2-1. Now they find themselves down 3-2 and 1 game away from losing this first grand finals. If you're just joining us, as a reminder, if we do see the Knights win, we will reset the entire grand finals. Because we have Cintanegra coming in from the winner's bracket, they would essentially, in a double elimination bracket, need to lose at least once. And we will then go to a second best of 7. That's what Knights is looking to do, and they want to do it right here, right now, in Strongholds Live Fire.
Well, here are some replays from that game that we just saw. And to be honest with you, this is the first time that Cintanegra probably look at a game and think, that was one we threw away a little bit, because they did have that lead right up until around that 40 kill mark. But that one push that came in, the overshield was the difference maker. And how many overshields did we actually see get into the hands of Cintanegra? I can't really remember one, to be honest. I know they dealt with one by sending one off the map, but apart from that,
I think it might have just
always in the hands of...
Here was the repulsor from Bullet, and you thought that was the turning point. 34-28, I believe, after they nuked that overshield to the depths. But this is too easy from Palu. They know he has the skewer there. You cannot be poking out without checking those angles there. And it feels like a little bit of carelessness at the end, and Knights just jumped all over it.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of panic, a little bit of overthinking about the situation in those final moments. Atso tries to go in for those final kills, but even at this point, if you get that overshield and you pop it, and I get that you don't want to risk it because you don't have the kills available, but sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit, as they say somewhere in the world. I'm not quite sure still what that means, but you know what I'm saying. If you pop that overshield, you get it in your hands, you might have a chance of coming back in the game. If you lose that 1v1 though, you know that it's done and dusted. But in that moment, it's such a tough decision to make. Do you pop the OV? Do you try and risk it? Or do you try and just win the 1v1? And now we move over to another game. It's tough. It's tough for sure.
It is a tough call, and it's not one they can continue thinking about as they get ready. Here's a look at your series layout and what was once a beautiful... You know how you say turquoise in Spanish?
No.
Turquesa. What was once a mostly...
I was going to go for turquoise.
Oh, yeah, it's close enough. It sounds more Italian, but it's pretty close. What was once a very, very light baby blue board has become more and more black and gold as time has gone on. It is now a 3-2 lead for Knights. They will win back-to-back games to take the lead in the series, and they will now find themselves with an opportunity to reset the grand finals here on Stronghold's Live Fire.
I have a question for you, Andy Dadinsky, and people who are watching at home and in the arena in Mexico, which is quite simply, do Knights reset the bracket right now, or do Cinta Negra send us to a Game 7?
I'm hoping for the Game 7. Let's go Game 7.
Okay.
I'm not even going to tell you what I think. This is what I want. I want to go to a Game 7. I want this thing to go the distance. I think it would only be right. Here we are into game number 6 in your best of 7. Knights 1 game away from resetting the bracket.
Sometimes we say this game is important, and it has an element of importance. This one is vital for both teams. It could not be more important. And Johan picks up a double off the rip, but he finds himself as the last alive. Knights have early scoring here with the AB hole.
Keep in mind, Cintanegra, they've been flashy this event, right? They've been poking out. They've been jumping out for the extra kills. Let's see if they can bring that in this game as well. I don't want to see them change their play style. I just want to see them make sure that they're executing in this chaos. Like you said, take advantage of that. Taking a look here at Bullet now. Double kill bottom middle as well. Gonna grab the heat wave. Gonna try to fly out dummies if he can. Picks up the first one as well. Apologies, it looks like might have lost onset as his PC might have exploded for just a second. So we'll bear for just a second as he's gonna get right back into this cast. Don't you worry. We'll stay on board here with Bullet as we will see them scoring on A and C for just a second here. And now Atsos POV. He will find themselves 2 dead as well and need to slow things down for just a minute. Can't apply too much pressure. Just tapping will have the sniper rifle in hand. Needs to get a pick if he can. Gonna push cuts. Big time on the board already early for Cintanegra. 48-4, but tapping buttons with a very cool calm and collected. Does it once, can't do it twice. Drift, last player alive. That means Bullet's going to go ahead and grab the sniper rifle as well. Good time on the board. It's a BC flip as well, so that will mean Cintanegra continues scoring. Let's see if we can bring in Gaskin here. Dan, I'll let you jump in while we wait for Onset to get back into the cast.
Oh, I'm jumping, man. What a time to jump in as well in what is one of the most exciting grand finals we have seen in this region. The Knights, though, with a chance, of course, Bravo, to take us to a reset, take us to another best of 7. But Cintanegra in the early stages, look at this. They've been able to put on so many points now in these early stages that the Knights are going to have to fight back hard.
I mean, you got to tell me that from watching here from backstage, this has been quite a grand final. Anyone who's really been popping off for you?
You've got to look at what Magico has been doing, but at the same time, I mean, Pelugod had some big moments in the previous games, and as the new boy on the roster, he has to, and as I say, and talk about Magico, the A and B in control, and the kills coming, they were flowing in the Game 7 is looking more likely, Bravo.
It really is, and I think we were hoping for it as just simply neutral fans of competitive Halo. If they might be able to force us to a Game 7, you'd love to see it in a grand final. Now, B will be flipped, looks like all the way. Knights will finally grab it, and they've been heavily outscored up until this point, but gonna start to put a little bit more points on the board. They'll finally get to double digits.
Should get to double digits, do get to double digits, and now this is when you've got to ask questions of Cintanegra, right? When you see that Knights have been able to put some points on the board, how do they respond? It looks like they respond well. 3 dead, now temporarily just 2, but A, B, and C in control as Magico sends him for a little bit of a swim. The Cintanegra show is starting to pop off now, Bravo, and I am wondering what the Knights do off spawn here, because they're going to be trapped over towards C, and Cintanegra are going to be flying at them.
It does seem like the beginning of that Stronghold's King of the Hill, to be honest, with just domination from Cintanegra here. Momentary trip cap, but they'll now be at the 128 mark to 17 in this game, and despite the fact that we see Drift with a sniper rifle and 3 dead for Cintanegra, it's still quite a sizable lead here for the side in blue. Let's go ahead and bring back Mark Onset. I think we have you again.
Hello, my friend. I apologize. My PC exploded. It just could not take the intensity of this grand final. But now we are back, and now we are ready to get back into this action. And what a start this has been from Cintanegra, Andy. But BC has been flipped, but Bullet he's found himself an Ovi.
Absolutely, we'll see what he could do here. We've seen a lot of power-up control in the hands of Knights earlier on in this series, and Cintanegra looking to make sure that they control not only the power-up, but also the game. Bullets is going to try to bait and switch here on the door, and so far gets away with it. They lose B on the side of Knights, so it will be more points on the board for Cintanegra.
More points on the board, and such important points as well. And one thing that's really stood out to me about Cintanegra, Andy, and I'm sure you agree with me on this, is just the heart that they've shown. So many teams would have wilted in these situations where you have an opportunity to do some magic. You beat Pittsburg Knights, you lose a couple of games, and you see them coming back to form. A lot of teams would have broken at that point. Cintanegra just keep on trucking. They keep moving forward, and they back themselves against this team to get the win.
You're absolutely right. Look at Johan as well. They just had 4 dead, and they did not force the trip cap. I like what I'm seeing from Cintanegra. They know that maybe it wasn't the best decision to overextend in that scenario, but the first 2 kills will go the way of Knights, but they're traded out very nicely 2v2 here.
Knights making a play on B. A little bit of help coming in from Pelu there for Atso, who just got that extra bullet in. Now you are going to see a little bit of a move, a little bit of a rotation, and we're going to see a little bit of a jump scare avoided there by Pelu as he uses that heat wave and the beatdown to deal with the play around the corner. Now there is a worrying moment here for Cintanegra. They have a huge lead. Fantastic, wonderful work up until this point. But now they're under a triple cap, and that is going to disappear incredibly quickly if they can't get control.
Let's see, A should flip here. It does, so that's going to stop the bleeding for just a second. But more kills that are coming in for Cintanegra should allow them to maybe be able to push out of sandbags. But a lot of pressure coming in. Need to play this carefully, but I couldn't agree more. You have to wonder, is this the danger zone? Is this the comeback once again for Knights?
Well, the moment they're picking up kills, and that's important to do. Pick up the kills required to get yourself back into the map, get a little bit of control and stop the bleeding. And they did do that with a play over at A. And now they're trying to flip on to C. However, Atso's there with the green gun, takes the overshield out of commission. Luke wins the fight as well and gets the reset. So they will cross that 100-point barrier. And now they're just around 60 from tying up this game.
Atso green guns him a second time. The man's crazy. He killed him twice. I've never seen someone green gun someone a second time. He was maybe thinking that the shields may have recharged by then. I don't think we actually saw a shield recharge animation, but still, Atso kills him twice before he can get taken down on the other side. Now on board with Mexico.
Mexico trying to move through the cuts with the heat wave. An important moment for him. Needs to stay alive in this situation, but over challenges and tapping buttons makes him pay for it. Drift now, he's going to win the 1v1, and Johan left on his own. Cintanegra getting a little bit desperate here, and you can see exactly why. It's another triple cap here for Knights.
Johan single-handedly wins the battle at C, though. That should flip C as well, and it's not the first time we've seen him do that, but big kills and big damage coming in from Pelu as well. At the same time, B will flip back again. It looks like for Cintanegra, and somehow they're maintaining some semblance of control. Big win for tapping buttons, though, over at B.
The movement from both players there, very, very impressive. And the shots coming in from Atso to keep his teammate alive even better. Tapping buttons trying to challenge and keep control of B. He's helped out by his teammate. 172. He's looking like a score that was almost too far away for Knights to even think about making the comeback from. But now they are within 10 points, Andy, and it's looking like they might be able to steal this lead away, but the play on B is going to be stopped as a challenge comes in from Drift. He needs to win this. Guardian wins it, but the reset was there, so the time was bought for Knights to re-engage in this fight.
Yeah, let's see what Johan's able to do here. He knows there's going to be pressure coming in from the A side. Like you said, what was once a sizable lead here for Cintanegra is now just about a 10-point lead. They need to make sure they clutch out here. A moment's away from a strip cap, but C will start to flip. He should be able to have his number. Oh, that was the overshield.
That was the overshield. That is massive. Take the overshield out of commission. Cause a ruckus over at C. Force 2 players back so that Cintanegra can start scoring again by flipping over B. A massive play as Magico cleans up another. There's a 1v1. Make it only Johan alive on the map at the moment. He is loaded into a custom game by himself. Everyone else is in the death screen.
This guy has the craziest stats for last player alive kills. I've never seen anything like it. You saw him do it earlier at C. That kept him in the game. It would have been a trip cap without that. He does it again here, and he keeps doing it. He's 18 and 15, and just like that, they are now at about 220 to 168. Only 30 points to go.
Again, I was talking about that heart, that desire, that will to win, and the will not to go down without a fight. Cintanegra showing it again, and a reset comes in on A. The battle is at B, though. Drift is inside of A. It looks like Knights will get the flip. No, they don't at the last second. The reset comes in and they're turning overseas. So a massive win by someone over at that Breeze stronghold means that they will keep scoring, and now they're just 25 points away.
Wow, absolutely huge. As you said, it looked like B was a sure thing and they were just going to hold on with C, but instead it's Bullet who stays alive in the back. He wins that battle. Looks like B should start to flip, but still very good pressure here. Johan needs to get these kills though, 2v2.
Needs to get these kills, but his teammates have already done the work for him. That means that he can challenge slowly. However, his two teammates did actually fall as well. So A is going to be the call. And Johan has put himself in a really smart position here. He knows that desperation moves are going to have to be made by Knights. He's trying to put himself in a position to flank behind enemy lines and make a play onto B, but here comes Drift flying out. Guardian's going to be there alongside him. Johan will be dealt with, but Guardian's there as well. It's 2v2 on the map. It's craziness here around B as Knights look to desperately do something to get back in this game.
Tapping his last player alive. He's all the way at dummies. He's all the way at cuts. There will be a BC hold. A is starting to flip as well. It's great rotations coming out of Cintanegra. Only 10 points to go.
10 points to go, and they will be lifting a trophy. And who would have said that? 4-2. Even getting to the finals was going to be an effort, but they're not quite there yet. But as they approach the finish line, they will get the job done. They win the game. And my word, they are getting so much respect from this community in the world right now, because Cintanegra, they are just here to show us I don't know what they're here to show us anymore, because they're just ridiculous.
My God, they do it again. They dig deep. I don't know how, but they force a game 7. This is what we wanted to see. This could not go any other way between these two, and it feels like it is the only fitting finish to our grand finals number 1. And I say that because we're one game and one potential result away from a grand finals number 2. It will come down to a game 7 Slayer recharge. And how many times do we have to talk about it, Mark? The fact that these guys at the end of the game, somehow they find a way, and Johan, as the last player alive, time and time again keeps his team in this game. And we're getting word from production that there is a Uno Mas chant in the crowd, and to be fair, it could be coming from either side because these teams are tied 3-3 with one game to go.
Absolutely insane. Insane? Absolutely insane. It's just a combination of insane and insanity, and also sums up exactly what is going on right now in between my ears. What a game, Andy. What a game. Just unbelievable to watch how they keep coming back. They will not go down.
They will not. They will not go down without a fight. Unbelievable. Let's take a look at some of the stats in the end. I mean, look at Tapping. He goes 23-15. We talked about how he needed to step up. He does just that. He's got to once again be looking around thinking what is going on in these games. Johan on the other side, he's 20-17 as well. He's actually, if I'm not mistaken, the only player to go positive on his team. So despite the fact that we saw some really good positive numbers coming out from the likes of Tapping, I mean, he outslayed the lobby with a huge number, right? Look at him. His KDA is 9.0. No one else even close. Despite the fact that we saw that, it's going to be Johan 5.3, and they will close out the game in the end.
Well, I'm starting to fear for my voice, and I'm starting to fear for getting through this next game, but I'm sure we're going to get there. Don't worry, everybody. We're going to make sure that this Game 7 is one to be remembered. Now, who is going to be a Game 7 hero here, Andy? Give me a couple of names. You got to give me a couple of names here. If it's on the side of Cintanegra, who's going to be the man who they're talking about for some time to come?
How can you choose anyone but Johan, right? I mean, this entire team's incredible, and not to take anything away from this entire roster. I mean, I've been so impressed by Mexico, Nasty Bullet, Guardian, just unbelievable stuff from them the entire weekend, but it feels like Johan's got more of the good stuff in the bottle, and maybe he's saving it for game number 7.
Wow. What a series. What a series this has been. And now the players just wait for one more stage for them to perform on. Or maybe one more stage for them to set the table for another series. Here's some of the replays from that last game, and what a start it was for Cintanegra, Andy. That was really where the momentum was on their side.
It really was. I mean, those first, how long did it take for the side of Knights to even get more than 10 points on the board? Look at the score, right? Here we are, 71-4. A great start for them, and Once again, though, they blow the mid game. Let's not sugarcoat it. The game comes within 4, and then we actually see Knights take the lead, which was scary to watch. And I think Cinta Negra is wishing, why do we have to play these games this way? Why can't we just play? We play the beginning and the end, where we somehow get into really dangerous waters in the middle of the game. But all game long, we saw standout performances across both sides of the stage. This was the play here. Somehow, Johan's able to stay alive long enough for his teammates to come back into the play, and then Pelu gets taken down as well. And it is a game of inches time and time again in this game number 6.
And what about that reset over at B? I was like, oh,
Huge.
yep, that's gone to Knights. And then somehow 1 pixel left. 1 pixel left. I'm not sure. It was half a pixel. I don't even know what the technical term for that is, but somehow a reset came in, and that was the difference maker. They managed to hold on from that moment, and that is a series and a half. Cinta Negra come into Slayer Recharge, where they have already beaten Knights earlier in the tournament in that winners bracket final, with a chance to become a champion.
But don't forget, it was a 50-48. A 50-48 2-kill win.
Of course it
and
was.
I believe they were up 42-34 or something ridiculous, maybe 42-37. Regardless, as they often do, they blew a huge lead and allowed Knights to come back in the game, and they cannot afford to do it again. They don't want to go to a second best of 7. This is wild. This is one of the best grand finals we've had in a long time. Cinta Negra 1 game away from taking the title in Latin America. Knights 1 game away from resetting the grand finals and sending us to a second best of 7.
I have got the biggest smile on my face, ladies and gents, because it is game 7 now. We might see the Cinderella story complete, or we might be sending ourselves in for some more Halo and a full bracket reset. If Knights take this one home, we go again. If Cinta Negra win this one, we go home, and they go home with a trophy. And what a story that would be. Camo goes to Knights early on.
Should be camo, should be grapple, should be shock as well for Drift. He's going to grab all 3 of the goodies and actually go straight into Whirlpool here. Try to do some damage from the back. Maybe try to just get back to pipes. Goes for a cheeky angle. 5-4. My God, I cannot imagine the nerves on the main stage here. Everything to play for. The pride of the region on the line.
And look at this pace of this game. Look at the pace of the game. Slowed down completely. Unless you're Johan, of course, who only knows how to play one way. But Knights already just a clear adaptation on their game plan, how they want to approach things. But unless you're Johan, he flies in with a sword. He'll get the kill. It gets traded out immediately, though. It's 7-7.
My God, back and forth. 3 dead for Cintanegra at the moment. Bullet as the last player alive will get a nice little kill to get his team back in. This one finds a second player and a nice 2-shot melee for the double. Somehow stays alive. Lives to tell the tale, and now we'll reset once again with the sword on Sneaky.
Such good patience in that fight as well.
Yeah.
A lot of players in a game 7 with how much is on the line would have just gone for the beat down there, get the damage, hope you can trade. Just got that extra shot in, even though he kind of ate the melee himself, to make sure that he was the player who was coming out on top of that fight. Now we're going to see Guardian with the shock rifle in his hands. Never has a headshot been more important than this game 7 for these players on Cinta Negra. And if he can hit one, that will be the lead change, and they'll be able to control the pace.
Checking all of his corners. Knows that the push could come at any time. 10-10, and even Knights are playing this slow. Ooh, nice little slide comes in. Kills being traded out. 2 for Cintanegra. Oh, nice little work on bottom middle as well. Tries to grapple the camo to himself. Instead, he has to play a lot differently than he wanted to, but he still gets away with it. Knights with a 1-kill lead.
I want to see him try and take some funky angles, though, with this camo. I want to try and see him catch someone off guard here from Knights, because Knights know they don't have camo, and Knights know they don't have shock. So they're not going to push any kind of the pace here, and they're slowing this right down. So Guardian has to take this time and the opportunity to try and line something up. That's what he's trying to do. He cleans up one. Now he's giving away his position, though. He needs his teammates to move in and try and help him out as the camo has now disappeared.
Great play there. Got to say thank God for no hit markers, because he had to make that gamble to check the sneaky ledge to see if it did any damage. They'll pick up another one as well, and good slides coming in here from the likes of Drift. He'll get under the tag of the shock rifle. 3 dead for Cintanegra. That will be sword in hand for Atso as well, and I'm so glad we could say this. By the way, as a friendly reminder, this is a $9,000 game Slayer potentially if we do see Cintanegra take it.
Cintanegra, though, down by 6. as all 4 players fall into that death screen. Knights have worked something out. They have learned from the last time these two teams met on this map. They know that the pace has to be in their control at all times. Johan's going to be eliminated as well. The Sword's going to make mincemeat of Magico as well. And now you are seeing Knights start to extend that lead just little by little.
I don't think Guardian's get away. He's not able to, and Johan's going to be the first spawner in Whirlpool. It does a lot of damage, keeps the game close. It's really important that Johan flies out of elevator to Whirlpool and gets his Pipes presence right away.
Johan already being collapsed on though, and Drift is controlling that shock rifle. The score is 26-18. Camo's going to be coming up as well. Magico manages to survive. Bullet's going to put some pressure on, but Magico, you can't come back twice and expect to have the same result. This time he's made to pay as the shock will connect.
Trades coming in there, double kill. 3 dead for Knights for the moment, and it will be a double kill on the other side for Tapping, who was the last player alive. And if you're a Tapping Button fan, you have loved the end of this series, because a lot of people saying we want to see more from Tapping. He has delivered in the tail end of the grand final.
Save your best performances for the biggest games. Halo's going to pick up another kill here for side of Knights. They're starting to extend this lead once more. It's looking like a very difficult comeback situation now for Cintanegra. Johan's going to pick up 1, but you can see more kills being exchanged across the map. 3 dead again here for Cintanegra, and if you had some plans for this evening, for the early morning, for the afternoon, wherever you are in the world and whatever time zone you're in, clear them, because it's looking like we're getting a bracket reset in our grand final.
Yeah, you're going to need to cancel those plans without a doubt. And if your name is Clutcher Gaskin, you're going to need to get ready to cast some games as well. Look at Drift, 15-6. What a pop-off game already in this game number 7. Not over yet, though, and a comeback is possible, but right now it is all Knights all day.
Maybe there's one more twist in the tail, though. And there's a 10 kill difference between the two teams. You cannot ignore that. 1 shock rifle, 1 camo.
Oh boy.
That can become 4 kills. And then we really do have a game. Guardian will pick up 1. Tapping buttons will be there. We will get the trade. Drift needs to stay alive. Drift won't stay alive as Johan decides, I'm not done yet. We're not going to a bracket reset. I want to try and get my team back into this game. I want to put this team on my shoulders, and I want to call myself a champ.
How fitting is just as soon as we called it, then it might be over. Johan grabs the shock, but he also tries to get aggressive there, doing everything he can across the map. That will bring the game to 45-33. And you got to think, coaching staff on both sides are prepping the water bottles. We're going the distance here.
We are going the distance indeed. Halo, 4 kills to go. Maybe you can start to get a little bit fancy. Maybe you can try and hit a few cool shots just to really put the pressure back onto your opponents. The battle rifle will get the job done, though, for the 48th kill. 3 kills full, but he's on the flank. The nade's definitely going to give that away, though, but maybe he wants someone to challenge him. Maybe he dares someone to challenge him, because he's still got that shot.
Pelu on the, like you said, Pelu's backseat right now. I don't know if Bullet knows about it, but he might be in trouble in just a second. A lot of damage coming in, and might be too little too late. Waiting for this last kill.
Grab yourself a coffee, ladies and gents. The bracket is reset. PK, Pittsburg Knights, send us to a second best of 7 in this grand finals. There is life in the top dog yet.
My God. And of course they save the best for last. Tapping Pelu Atso Drift in a crazy 7-game set. They will reset the bracket, sending us the distance. And I think before we even started, Mark, you and I were saying it does feel like a bracket reset kind of evening, doesn't it? And who better to do it than the best team in the region, undefeated until this point, by the way. They didn't expect to find themselves coming in from the elimination side of the bracket.
I'm not quite sure this one's going to go 7. PK Knights, if they can get off on the right foot as far as the objective is concerned, because that's something that they've faltered to throughout their series against the Knights today, that would be a big win as well. So kicking it off, it's Magico to start this one off. And as this grand finals resets gets underway, Dan, Magico, he's been a player to watch today. It's going to be a big moment for him.
We are underway, as you say, a reset in this grand finals between 2 absolute giants of this region. This has been Knights tournament all weekend long. We've been talking about how Knights should be winning this, Knights should be winning that. It should be easy. Then Cintanegra have come out of what seems like nowhere to show what they are made of. But in the early stages here, Knights have already got a lead. But remember, Cintanegra did win this game type in the winners bracket finals. It was 250 to 199. So they've done it once, and they can definitely do it again. If they can start off the winning form here, get another objective under their belt, then maybe they can continue to find success against this Knights roster. But already seeing fights happening. Magico will get a kill. Pelagod trying to watch from distance, but it is also troublesome to try and get yourself over towards this B hill. So difficult to try and capture on your own.
A massive trade under the camo player is, you were breaking that down so eloquently. Massive for Cintanegra to get that camo out of the hands of the Knights, and they've done a good job as of yet, continuing to start off well in some of these objectives games. It's been a real strong point for Cintanegra up until this series. Let's see if they can continue it now. A little bit of teamwork goes a long way, and 3 down for the Knights bodes well for their chances to continue to score.
He's being taken at the moment. B also still in control of Cintanegra as well. Johan gets taken down though by Drift. He was in such a good position to maybe cover this B stronghold, but now with him falling, it is a responsibility of Pelagod to make sure he tries to capture it. But look at the speed of which someone's arrived. Magico pulls a rabbit out of his hat and will arrive into B so quickly that now Cintanegra will continue to score. And I tell you what, they are playing with so much confidence at the moment. Every single fight, you can feel that they know they can win this, even though they've gone into another best of 7.
Yeah, and looking at the start of the day, Dan, what I thought was going to be Cintanegra needing to win Slayers, it's actually the other way around. Their objective has been so strong, 56 to 16, and continuing to go. Unfortunately, just not the camo control that they need in order to potentially continue to dictate the pace here in game 1. The second camo of the game, it's gone into Atso's hands as well.
Nice shots though from Atso. Just as he falls, it's a little fade away as he goes down. Bullet will still stay alive, and now he can try and contest B here. Does find a little shock rifle to work with on the floor. Has to avoid the grenades, does avoid the grenades, and now you can start to put the shock rifle to work. You can see he's scouting around, recharge, and oh my word, he's able to get those final shots with the battle rifle as well. A and B still in control, points still being scored for Cintanegra, and Knights find themselves 3 dead. This is exactly what we've been seeing when these two teams go up against each other, Wes, is objective work seems to be far better here for the Cintanegra roster.
We've been seeing Bullet pop off as well, and 9-2-1 statistically so far in this game. I mean, just absolutely popping off. He had a phenomenal first series. Unfortunately, he's going to need to have that similar performance in order to punch his team past the finish line. And as it looked like Cintanegra was going to have a good opportunity there with those kills early on from Bullet. It was 3 dead, make it all 4 as Bullet's coming off respawn for Cintanegra. The Knights are going to have a trip cap opportunity, and the big question as we go into this is how long will they be able to keep it? Can they take the lead here and now?
This is the danger of the Pittsburg Knights on strongholds, is they are very effective when they do get total control. But they are scoring so rapidly. Tapping Buttons is going to contest this one as well. Needs to hit one of these shots though. Needs help, maybe some support. Doesn't manage to get it. And that is not the Tapping Buttons I am used to seeing. And that gives Cintanegra a lifeline in this passage of play. They now can follow up. They can push over towards either A or C. A is going to be the choice. It's a 1 versus 1. And just like that, Cintanegra are scoring once more. It could have been so different if Tapping Buttons had managed to hit that shot.
Yeah, but in the meantime, the Knights have secured their 3rd camo. So a big question coming up is what can Atso do with this camo? A couple of kills going in the Knights' favor as B is also being transferred. And if he can stay alive, get out of this stronghold, potentially once again push the trip cap, the Knights are still going to be able to maintain the pace. So even though Cintanegra did a good job to get out of that first trip cap, it's still continuing to bleed into this situation, Dan. And Atso jumping into A, you're fine losing B here. Trading A for B is always a successful recipe, I would say, as that B stronghold is going to force pipe spawns for Cintanegra, and it's not a lot of room to work with when you do have those pipe spawns, but it is going to be a split spawn situation, it appears.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, a split spawn is a difficult scenario to play on both ends. It really can depend on what's happened and what's unfolded previously. But it looks like B and C are currently being contested by the Pittsburg Knights. But all the meanwhile, Cintanegra are scoring because it hasn't been reset yet. And B, this is the aim. This is the target, it would seem, for the Pittsburg Knights at the moment. But Guardian takes down Tapping Buttons. He gets traded out. Johan is going to contest and take A. And this is working perfectly for Cintanegra. The rotations in Strongholds seem to be sublime. We saw the same thing on Strongholds live fire just earlier in the previous best of 7 as they continue to score in A and C.
Yeah, Cintanegra, you got to give props to them and their ability to rotate, but it's also a couple of blunders on the side of Knights. When you get those trip caps, the big thing about the trip caps in Halo Infinite is, do you overextend at times? Do you feel like when you force split spawns, are you able to get the sways? If you're not able to get those sways, the split spawns are actually going to benefit the team coming off respawn. The Knights, they haven't been able to get those sways up until this point in these strongholds, and it has come at the deficit to their score right now. Because they don't get those sways, they lose not only one stronghold typically, but a couple, and risk a trip cap of their own. In the meantime, though, Pelu with camo has been able to grapple it to himself, secure a kill, and stay alive. So once again, 4 for 4 now the Knights are on camos.
Pelu had no right staying alive with that camouflage, and I think even he's probably surprised he was able to do so. But Cintanegra do manage to turn over B. Pelu God trying to do what he can. Did he get the stick? He did get the stick, gets the double kill, but unfortunately he is not going to be able to capture B. And all the meanwhile, Bullet will move over towards A, knows that he can just keep on going with this rotation, keep forcing Knights to have to chase after them, and almost like a dog chasing a tail, never really able to catch it. And A and B once more in the control. Points going in favor of Cintanegra once more. But again, we are going to see 3 dead on the side of Cintanegra. But where do Knights go? They need to take A off of Cintanegra here. But I've got to worry. Maybe there's going to be some spawners over towards his elevator. No, yes, there is. See, that's the problem. They're just a little bit too slow at the moment, are the Knights.
Yeah, Drift just getting predicted on that route. He takes enough damage, so it's an easy kill for his teammate. But in the meantime, it does look like the Knights have been able to get the kills over towards B, and it's going to be another potential trip cap situation. C being transferred over by Cintanegra is fine if you're on the side of the Knights. You get A and B, and look at this. They're going to have a sandwich opportunity, and Dan, as hungry as I am, I love me a good sandwich opportunity right now. Unfortunately, Atso, he's backed up. He's going to have to reassess the situation.
I bet Onset's eating a sandwich at the moment as well. That's the type of thing he'd do after doing a best of 7 and passing it off to us. He's probably made some really meaty sandwich that, I'm drooling just thinking about it. Anyway, A, B, and C, all taken by Knights. They are scoring heavily right now. This is a great period of play for them. B is being contested. B will be reset. This time tapping buttons, does get the reset, gets the double kill, gets the shot rifle, and he says, who dare challenge me? He turns so quickly then to try and face someone, and it is going to be Batledge. He will take the fight. He wins the fight as well, and now suddenly Knights are in the lead. They need objective wins. If they just get one objective win, maybe they win the entire series, because their Slayers have been flawless so far in this tournament.
This is it. This is the trap, the trip cap the Knights wanted to put into effect all game long, and it's on the back of the 5th camo in a row, Dan. The camo control from Pelu, specifically on this team, has been so crucial to them staying in this game. And now that they've got the trip cap, they've been able to keep it. They've been able to force split spawns, rotate perfectly, get the slays on top of it, and you're seeing exactly why teams push the trip cap. Look at the score. It's blown wide open, now up over 60 points.
This is the Pittsburg Knights we thought we were going to see all tournament long, and maybe they are just saving the best for last. Maybe they just wanted to put on a show for the entire LATAM region, who were literally chanting one more game, but they got one entire new series. 242 to 161. Pittsburg Knights are almost 1-0 up, and with that final kill, they will be going 1-0 up in this reset. And I was worried about Cintanegra if there was a reset, if there was another best of 7. Will they have the stamina to keep up with the experience that we see on the other side of the stage? What a game 1, and what a comeback.
We didn't see his point of view, but Dan, you called out tapping buttons towards the beginning of that game. Well, at the end, he was flying everywhere, to A, to C, hitting shots, taking players down, and he was the difference maker towards the end of that. I'm not quite sure what the stats are going to represent there, but tapping buttons in that trip cap situation was able to thrive. Started hitting a lot of those shots that we know him to be able to hit. And when tapping buttons starts to heat up, when he can catch fire, that's when this PK Knights roster is at its best.
When they're in control and tapping buttons has that freedom to run around the map and just take those fights, then it is difficult to stop this Pittsburg Knights roster. We have seen that throughout the weekend. The only problem is when they are behind. Like, how do they get back into it? Well, they've just answered that in that game. They were down by a considerable amount. They were able to just take a breather, assess how they were going to stop this constant rotation that they were going up against, and eventually they laid a few traps, they baited, they switched, and it worked out perfectly for them. Tapping buttons, 20 kills on the board. When you needed your superstar to step up, he has done just that in game number 1 of this bracket reset. And if that is anything to go by, Pittsburg Knights, it looks like they have finally stepped up to the plate, and I'm sure they'll be looking to try and make this second best of 7 as quick as possible. But I know full well that the Cintanegra roster, whereas they are not going to go down without a fight here.
No, not at all. But tapping at 20 and 17, about 6 or 7 of those kills coming there at the end. Drift with 16 assists. And those are the 2 players I've always been able to call out and say these are the guys to watch on this team. But Knights, the entire squad brings it in game 1. And now all of a sudden, Dan, the pressure for the first time in one of these series is starting to be felt on the side of Cintanegra. They no longer have the advantage. They are now backs against the wall here. And they're going to find out very quickly how well they can play with that kind of pressure on them, because in the winners finals, they always had the lead in the series. After game 1, I would say. And then in the first set series in the grand finals, they had the lead 2-1. You're playing with at very worst, we're playing a bracket reset. Now it's no longer the case. Now we're going to learn about their true colors deep into the night here from Cintanegra.
I mean, Lottie asked me about it before even we had the chance to see what was going to happen in that first best of 7. I said, if Knights can get to a second best of 7, this gets extremely scary for Cintanegra. Now, Slayer Streets is going to be game number 2. I look across in my notes. Did they play each other in this tournament so far? No, they have not. But we have seen a lot of incredible Street Slayer games throughout this tournament, 50-49s. We even saw a 50-50 if you weren't watching during day number 1. That was quite something. We seem to be breaking records in this tournament, the first bracket reset in Halo Infinite LAN, and we are going to see, of course, a 50-50 as well for the first time in Halo Infinite. But Knights versus Cintanegra, game number 2, Slayer Streets is where we are going. And if we know anything, it's that the Pittsburg Knights have dominated the Slayers between these 2 teams. In fact, I don't think they've been able to lose a Slayer in the previous series. They really were just a different kind of force when it came to how aggressive they were able to be, pushing constantly and taking so many fights. Can we see Cintanegra actually get a Slayer under their belts? It is so important that they win one of these Slayers for their chances in this second best of 7.
And I feel like if it's going to be one, it's going to be Streets, because they won the King of the Hill Streets. They won the Stronghold Streets very convincingly both times around. If there's ever a Slayer Cintanegra need to win, it's with momentum now against them here in the grand finals. You got to find a way. You got to get 50 kills, and unfortunately, Helu's found his way to another power weapon in here in this grand finals. He's got the rockets and the bulldog in hand. I love his ability to focus on these upgrades so far throughout this series.
And he was so hell-bent on getting that battle rifle there. I'm not sure he was even aware there was a player bottom tram, but he quickly just slammed the bulldog into him, hits him with the melee. Job is a good one. And now he's continuing to be on a tear, but Magico will hit the shots to ensure he gets taken down. It's 9-5. It is a great start for the Knights, but Cintanegra are still within a shot of this one. They are still in touching distance. As long as you can stay within at least 5 kills, you are more than comfortable. The early stages, no reason to panic, especially considering how well we know Knights have been playing these Slayer games.
You got to keep it close, at least for now, because when we've seen the Knights get off to an early lead in their Slayers, they typically run away with it. Cintanegra now down 5 early on. Got a couple of players towards the cafe, and Guardian trying to stay alive, trying to dodge the nades, but he only lures more pressure into his teammates' back tower. It was all 4 dead for Cintanegra again, and when it rains, it pours, Dan, and when on a map like Streets, when you go all 4 dead on a fast game type like Slayer, you can best believe the pressure is going to be right off her spawn.
20-10, a 10-kill advantage, 3 dead, as you say. And Cintanegra are unable to get off spawn multiple times here. The Knights are really running through them. This second best of 7 is looking more and more likely that the Knights will be taking it already. I can say that confidently, just with how different they're playing and how much Cintanegra are struggling in these Slayers. But there is still a long way to go yet, so I won't get ahead of myself, and I'm sure that the Knights won't either. But already they are looking to try and take a 2-0 lead in this one. Atso has the rocket launcher in the back pocket to try and get another guaranteed kill, but he doesn't need to use it at the moment because everyone are falling like flies around him. The Knights roster are all just getting the kills with beatdowns, with battle rifles. Finally, he uses the rocket, and it's enough to get an assist.
It's an absolute slaughter here on the Streets. 14 separate the two as the 28 kill mark is crossed by the Knights, and as they approach that 30 kill mark. I said they needed to keep it close on the side of Cintanegra, and they have not been able to get off their spawn. Look at the pressure continuously being applied to them. As soon as he gets his shield back, he's in another gunfight. And Johan, although he's just trying to buy time here, he's got his hands full with tapping buttons. And on the other side, I mean, the Knights, they know that if they keep the pressure up, they should be able to trade damage out and successfully come away with a 2-0 victory here in the grand finals.
And even though we have seen big comebacks, not just in this tournament, but in Halo Infinite history, and all 4 dead are the Knights, it's still a long way to go. It's still 11 kills that they find themselves behind to Cintanegra, but it is still doable. It's not over just yet. Magico will have to retreat from that one. The Stalker Rifle doing the damage, and that's a good sign for Knights, as having the Stalker Rifle in your hands is going to mean a lot of potential for kills, especially when it's in the hands of this man. Tapping Buttons, of course, had a stint in North America throughout Halo 5, returned to his home region for Halo Infinite, and he has been atop of this region for the entire year, and you can see why. The perfect hits hard, 35 to 24. He finally goes down, but is the damage already done here?
I mean, look at the difference though, Dan. If it's Cintanegra goes all 4 dead and they all spawn up in Tram, Knights brought the party to them. Knights, when they all 4 just went down, they spawned Tram, they got the hell out of Dodge. They created space on the map, and they were much more successful at fighting for map control. You didn't see nearly the power swing, the amount of kills swing towards the favor of Cintanegra because of that. In the meantime, though, Rockets and Stalker acquired by Bullet. He's got a lot of responsibility back tower to make sure not only does he get a couple of kills, he stays alive. He can't do that. And although those Rockets get removed from the map in Cintanegra's hands, it's still an 8-kill game.
8 kills was better than 11, and as we say that, Tapping Buttons, I think, just got the ninja, and it's listed as a massacre in the Spanish language on your screen, but 41 to 34. And you saw the pumped up feeling that Atso felt after that kill from Tapping Buttons as well, just trying to inject some energy into the rest of his roster to make them believe that this can be done here in this second best of 7. 7 kills between the 2 teams. Definitely still a comeback possibility though here for Cintanegra. Tapping Buttons looking to try and get an angle on this stairs angle, and he will actually manage to do so. Really good shots coming down from Tapping Buttons right now, 42 to 35, and you've got to feel, Wes, that they've got enough of a distance between them that surely they should be able to close this out.
Yeah, you see Cintanegra trying to pressure the Tramp spawns, and they catch them before they can get up downhill. That's the big difference here. And now why it's a 5-kill game instead of a 10-kill game is because Cintanegra were finally able to apply that kind of a pressure. But now they flipped the map, and they're going to have to do it once again. These players on the Knights, they've slowed the game down even, and it's not often we see Slayers slow down in Slayers here in Halo Infinite, but right as Rockets are coming up in 10 seconds, these next few kills are going to mean so much, and who better than Pelu to kick it off?
45 to 38, another kill going in favor of the Knights. Johan is at least going to be able to get one back. Bullet also puts one on the board. They're still within 6.
You got to get Rockets.
These Rockets have to go in the way of Knights if they're going to confirm this. But oh wow, 48 to 41, and then not going in favor of Cintanegra probably means the end of this one. You have to say 48 to 42. Johan's taking the fight though, and that's a big fight to win. Still alive, still chance, 49 to 44. One more kill required for the Pittsburg Knights. They've got the grenades to work with as well. They see where the players are on Pink Street. Cintanegra will retreat as much as they can. They're all backed up, but here comes the push from the Pittsburg Knights to get this last remaining kill, and it is sewn into it as well. Cintanegra fall, and we are going to see the Pittsburg Knights take a 2-0 lead in this series.
There we go. We see the Pittsburg Knights fans are starting to get a little bit louder. They're starting to cheer a little bit more. I feel like they've been the more reserved fans when we check them out, but now that they realize, hey, our team's actually probably going to win this thing, those fans starting to get loud, starting to be proud, and they have every right to be. This is a phenomenal comeback story from the Knights. What was once the heavy favorite for our tournament, Dan, fell short in that winners finals. It's a comeback story, and they're writing it perfectly now. They're starting to hit their flow.
Hitting their flow indeed, and they're starting to look like a terrifying force. And with one Slayer and one objective already under their belt, if it goes anything like the previous best of 7 did, maybe they've already solidified their name on that trophy, but still plenty of games to be played. And it's an objective one that we go up to next. And we know that Cintanegra have been far better when it comes to those objectives. I know they lost game number 1, but I think they will fancy their chances going into game number 3 here. But those are the stats on your screen. It's that boy tapping buttons once more who is going to have all the plaudits after his performance. But there were so many individual moments there from every single player on this team that really stepped up when they need to. It seems like it's taken them a while to properly wake up and properly show us what this PK roster can look like, Wes, but maybe we finally got there now.
Yeah, I think tapping's starting to really hit form, and that's like what you needed to see from the PK Knights when they lost that series in the winners finals. It was, we are the superstars for this roster. Now Drift maybe not statistically having the best numbers, but we've got the tapping buttons, a player that has had a fairly quiet tournament for his standards in the region, but starting to wake up when it matters most, starting to put up absolute bombs. 18, 11, and 9. That's a most tied for the least. When you give me a player that can do that in a game, I'll take it every day of the week. And on the other side, Nasty Bullet continuing to play at such a high level, but it's really just a matter of team pressure that we saw there in game 2, Dan. It was a matter of how quickly can you flip the map on your opponent, how quickly can you deny space from your opponent, and that was something that the Knights did so much better than Cintanegra there in game 2.
They did indeed, and now they find themselves 2-0 up going into Live Fire King of the Hill. And if I remember correctly, this is one that we've already seen these two play, and last time it was a reset. It was 3-3 and we couldn't find a winner, and then it was 1-1 and Knights were able to just get across that finish line. So everything's starting to look good for Knights. Previous games they've won, they've got an objective already under their belt. Are Cintanegra going to crumble now? You have to feel, Wes, that if they lose this game 3, surely it is too much to do to win 4 in a row against the Pittsburg Knights, right? Surely it wouldn't be achievable at that point.
Yeah, and this is almost like a different Pittsburg Knights roster that you're seeing here in the second best of 7 because of the pressure. These guys on both sides of the stage are human, and when you're confident, when you continuously are putting up numbers like tapping starting to put up, hitting shots that they're starting to hit, they're starting to find that rhythm, that flow that puts them in that mode where they're just going unconsciously, right? When you hit this level of tiredness and you've been through this many games in a day, especially at the end of a weekend at a tournament, you start to subconsciously just kind of play at very high level if you hit that level of flow. And we're starting to wonder, where is that Cintanegra flow that we once saw in the winners bracket finals, in some of those games in the first best of 7 in that grand finals. But getting underway now, Guardian, a player that's been fairly quiet the last few games, needs to find a way to hit some shots, does just that. And this is a much different start for Cintanegra than we've seen as of recent, and this could bode well for their opportunity to take game 3.
Well, in the winners finals, Cintanegra did get the first couple of hills here on Live Fire Hill, and they really had an explosive start, and it took the Knights a while to get into the game, and it just seemed like starting strategy far better for Cintanegra, and it seems to be the same here as we repeat this matchup once more in the grand final reset here in the HCS MX Regional.
Wait.
Johan needs to probably just use his battle rifle at that point. Always risky when you use the sniper rifle and you've got an overshield. But now that he's taken down one player, he can start to get into areas to watch over this hill. He's just double checking his back, making sure no one's going to be pushing, but the hill is slowly ticking up in favor of Cintanegra.
Slowly ticking up, almost over halfway, and it's because they were able to get the overshield, they were able to get the snipe. Unlike the other games so far in this second best of 7, Dan, where Pelu has typically been able to get those power weapon, power up upgrades, it was Cintanegra directly turning into a score here potentially. It looks like they're going to be able to get this first hill fairly easily, and this is something they desperately needed.
Johan's grenade unfortunately bounces off the wall, but he does manage to stay alive. First point going in favor of Cintanegra. Boy, do they need this. It's a nice stick as well from Johan. The Knights, though, they have set up. They're in position for this second hill. Overshield going to be popping in 16. Good grenades from Drift. Was that a melee? Was it a team kill? Who knows? Doesn't matter. Was the BR shot? Oh, there's the BR shots, though. Surely not. Double kill from Drift. And that's what you need to see from one of your biggest stars on this team, lighting up in this second best of 7.
You couldn't time the kills better as Overshield's now coming up. There are a couple of players for Cintanegra out here. I'm not quite sure if the Knights are in a position to compete for it, and the answer is no, they're not. Guardians is going to pick up that second Overshield of the game so far, and what looked like a very promising position for the Knights to be in after Drift lands those 3 kills is immediately stripped away, and it's the power-up control once again. Not to sound like a dead record, Dan, but those things can swing the momentum of games, and so far Cinta Negra doing a much better job here in game 3 to focus on achieving those points.
I do hate dead records, and I've seen a few of them in my time, Wes, I tell you, that's for sure. A little bit of control now for Cintanegra. And even though it was Drift who had that double kill, on the other side it was Johan who hit a double kill equally of the same magnitude that really did propel them into a situation where they could then get some kills to follow. And it's Johan again on the killing spree. It's Johan scoring points. It's Knights 3 dead. And Cintanegra are outslaying Knights massively at the moment. And even though Knights have had those highlights, it has been the CN story. It has been all blue in these last few moments as Johan gets another kill and still scoring RCN.
Nasty Bullet versus Adso. It's a one-on-one, and Nasty Bullet is right behind Adso. Can't quite finish the kill, but he is going to force Adso to turn around, run away with his head, but he ran right towards the hill, and the positioning is going to benefit the Knights as Adso was able to actually, by staying alive, Dan, he's able to give them tower spawns, exactly what the doctor ordered for the Knights to get back into this one. Now, Cintanegra, if they're able to break this single setup of the front tower before this point is scored, they're probably going to be able to score it themselves. If not, this game is going to be tied up 1-1.
Tapping Buttons has the sniper rifle. He rescued it from bottom middle. This is the first. Connects with a second, but it's just a body, and now this is going to be the push for Cintanegra, but it doesn't matter because the cap already happened. 1-1. And Knights are able to put one on the board, even though it looks surely like it was going to be Cintanegra's, considering the slaying power we've seen so far. But that is the danger of the Pittsburg Knights. Their slays have been at the right time. They've been a little bit more effective as Johan gets taken down, and now Knights have managed to find an overshield.
We'll just talk about the one-on-one. As we lose 2 players in the lobby, let's retrack. We're going to have to go to a reset, ladies and gentlemen. I've seen this one just about 100 times, so let's pull out of this game. Let's focus on what went right there for Pittsburgh to score that point. It was a one-on-one between Bullet and Adso, and although Bullet was just shooting Adso in the back, and I mean, Adso didn't have to do any damage, but what he did was he got in a position where his teammates could spawn by the tower. That's all they needed in order to get right back into this game, right? We talk about FPS and competitive play and how hitting great shots is a phenomenal skill set to have, but when you have the heads up play of like, hey, if I can stay alive, turn this corner and go towards where we want to set up and get my teammates spawns, that's going to benefit us more than if I turn on this kid and hit 4 shots, right? Because potentially if Adso turns around and wins the gunfight, he gives his teammates like scoreboard spawns, for example. But because he has the understanding of the game that I need to focus on, hey, my 3 teammates are dead, I need to focus on spawning them close to where we want to be, he awards his team a tied score line as we are going to go into a reset. A much different storyline than looking down at a 2-0 differential if this was to be the same case.
Yeah, a very different storyline indeed, but I think we have to start focusing on the standout players at the moment. I mean, there's a few, but Tapping Buttons has been lights out. Drift's been playing amazing, and I tell you what, maybe the best player of them all the players that are sat in that crowd loving every single moment of it. I mean, they're getting their money's worth, that's for sure. A second best of 7, the first crowd in Halo Infinite to be able to witness a bracket reset, so they are the lucky, I don't know, that's hundreds there, isn't it? Right? They get to enjoy this moment just as much as we do, but who is going to be the happier fan? Is it going to be the Pittsburg Knights, or is it going to be the Cinta Negra squadron who have come in full force? Speaking of players, on the other side of the story, Wes, we've got Johan. What an amazing tournament he has. He really has been a class above everyone else at times, and I think that he could be the real hope for Cinta Negra to get back into this series.
It's got to be everybody, though, right? Johan was even having a solid game 3. Started off very well, but that last death towards the tower almost costed his team because you want to control that. But Johan's been hitting some incredible shots. Magico and Bullet, actually, Bullet's been having one hell of a second series in this grand finals. Guardian and Magico, they've got to step up. But on the other side, like Dan, you don't compare individuals, you compare play styles is the difference so far in this series. The aggressive nature of the Pittsburg Knights is what's benefiting them. It's what's creating the difference here. You need to see more aggressiveness out of Cintanegra. They have to be able to apply pressure, and that comes on the back of everybody being together, rolling as a pack, and prioritizing the right goals, right? And I think that that can be a very difficult meta to try and shift up in the middle of a series. I feel like we were seeing a much more aggressive Cintanegra the first time around in that first best of 7 than we are now. Now they're a little bit more hesitant. Now they're a little bit almost out of place in some times, and because of that, they're starting to falter in some of these objective games.
That crowd is going wild, by the way. And even though you were making some amazing points, I was somewhat distracted by the amount of cheering that was going down. I was assessing this crowd, trying to work out who has more of a number. Do we have more Cintanegra fans? Do we have more Pittsburg Knights fans? And I tell you what, it's pretty even. And what I've heard, even though there's been chants going both ways, it just seems like this crowd are just fans of Halo. They're just loving every second of it, as the rest of us are. We are all big fans. And as the players just continue to get ready, we of course apologize for the delay and the technical issue, but I'm sure it will be resolved shortly. In the meanwhile, we can carry on having loving stories and talking about the good stuff. Wes, I mean, I'm looking forward to Orlando. I know that it's going to be the anniversary of Halo 3 back when we do go over towards Orlando. And I mean, your history maybe is more prevalent in the likes of Halo Reach, for example. You say you're a Reach kid, but I know full well that you played a lot of Halo 3 as well.
I was good at both. I like to think I had some accolades in both that established me as knowing what the heck I'm talking about when you're talking Halo 3 or Halo Reach. Orlando is one of my favorite cities, actually. Have a couple of good placings there. Took home a championship. Big fan of Orlando, so near and dear to my heart. Always enjoy going back to it. Sunny Florida can do no wrong, and you're in the home of Disney as well, so I'm very much looking forward to that. But more importantly, I feel like it's been so long since we've seen the North American teams play on LAN, and a lot of team changes happening over there that both these two teams are going to have to deal with. And I honestly think as team changes continue to occur over in the North American scene, Dan, the big thing for me is all of these teams are starting to really prioritize their placings at Worlds. They're starting to strengthen their roster, and it's getting deeper and deeper. So that's going to make PK and Cintanegra's time over there much more difficult.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it, when there are, these changes that are happening? Because sometimes it can weaken the squads, but with how it's gone down in North America, they have definitely been strengthening them. The rosters I've seen, some of the big rosters I've seen that maybe haven't necessarily been announced yet, look terrifying. And they are going to be making statements. And also, seeding is going to be a little bit all over the place, depending on how things go and when these teams are eventually finalized. You can see the series layout on your screen at the bottom there. King of the Hill Live Wire is, of course, where we go back to shortly. It was 1-1 before we had the reset, so we'll have to find out whether it's a full reset or whether it's going to be first for 3. But we'll get some confirmation on that one shortly. And I do think, Wes, that these two teams are going to have fun when it comes to Orlando. I think that they are going to be a real nuisance, not just to kind of the open North American teams that maybe make their way through into Pro Bracket, but I think they're going to cause a lot of problems to the European side. Like you're ascending your quadrant, because you've got to give the respect to those guys when they finished 7th and 8th, respectively, at Kansas City. And I wonder whether they will be able to replicate that. But my big question would be, are we going to see a LATAM team manage to push themselves further than that top 16? Because that's the kind of the benchmark now that we've been set in Kansas City. Of course, this Pittsburg Knights team, they've made a change. If they go on and win this tournament, Wes, do you believe they have what it takes to push themselves a bit further into top 12?
I think they can get top 12, but I want the rest of the North American teams to kind of solidify their rosters for Orlando. I'm not quite sure everybody's kind of pinned onto a roster at this point. You got to see these guys practice, but there's a lot of talent there, even in the top 16. The PK Knights, or the Pittsburg Knights, I'm sorry, they took Sentinels to a game 5. Sentinels went on to win Kansas City. So there's not to take anything away from both of these two teams. The fact that we see Cintanegra playing PK so close, and the fact that PK played Sentinel so close, anybody can really beat anybody in a best of 5 as long as they're in the same competitive atmosphere as the two. But there's a reason why some of these teams kind of consistently come out over top, and that's just practice, preparation, and then consistency, right? You got to see a level of consistency that we may not see out of teams from other regions. I think we saw some highlights from Quadrant that were just absolutely unbelievable, but you wonder how teams like Quadrant, teams like Ascend, can they find that level of consistency when they travel across seas? Because I think you also brought up a good point when you were talking about, you hope that the players have a good time at the tournament and that they're not like too stressed out, right? Because for me as a player, I guess I was traveling to like cities that I had been to after a couple of years back in the MLG days. So I wasn't really like focused on traveling or the experience, or like the lights were never an issue. The jet lag was never a problem for me because I'm only traveling a couple of hours every time. For these guys, it's an entire different culture shock. It's an opportunity to go somewhere they potentially have never been, to eat food that they've never had. And me, I'm like Chick-fil-A, I have it twice a week, like no big deal, right? So there's a lot that can be distracting to these guys when they go over. Are they focused on the tournament, or are they focused on the experience that they're about to have? Hopefully they're able to lock in as players in the competition and be able to perform up to the standards that they set. And if they want the experience, that's something that they can enjoy as well. But it's so difficult to balance the two when you do have the stress of a competition at hand.
I'll tell you what, my first Chick-fil-A was incredible. It may be, you know, same old story for you, but the first time I had it, I mean, Cheesecake Factory, I tell you what, a wonderful place. Yet I get told by Americans, they're like, oh, it's trash. You know, it's got too much on the menu. That means it's bad. And I'm like, every time I've been there, I've had a new meal, and it's been fantastic every time.
They can do no wrong. I don't know if they're lying to you saying that they have too much on the menu, but as long as you order chicken, I think you're good.
Exactly. You get the protein in. Well, it looks like with the map fly through, hopefully we are going to get back into this one. It was a power issue for a couple of the players, unfortunately, so that's why we're having to get a reset. As clarification, it is also going to be a full reset, so it's going to be first to 4. It's not going to be a first to 3 after the 1 point that was scored, and we are back underway in game number 3. Thank you, everyone watching on Twitch, of course, for sticking around, and on YouTube as well, of course. 5 minutes on the clock, 0-0 at the moment, and the sniper rifle in the hands of the man, the myth, the legend. It's Johan. What can he do for us? Can he put on a show as early scoring going in favor of Knights?
Johan's going to play for this overshield instead of the early hill time. It's always interesting to see how this plays out, Dan, because the team that goes for the overshield, if you don't acquire this in a very like successful manner where your overshield potentially gets stripped away while you compete for it, sometimes you don't get that power upgrade that you kind of played for. And in the meantime, look at that, a chunk at the hill already in the Knights' favor. This is what I'm worried about. This has to be a successful push from Cintanegra. And Helu, he's already done so much damage. He's found the first kill. Fortunately, the reinforcements are here for Cintanegra. The overshield gets put to use. But if Cintanegra don't find a way to find the next couple of slays, playing for that overshield's not going to benefit them at all.
Such a difficult call to make on this map. Do you go for it or do you not? As we see Atso get another kill, and again, it's that plasma pistol coming in his favor. He loves this gun, and he's always hitting shots with it. We heard Lottie in the desk talking about it just before this series started.
I love this.
Repulse up into the air, stay alive, manage to get your shields back. And this is where we talk about using the sandbox to full effect, using the utility you have on offer to stay alive as best as you can. All the meanwhile, Knights still scoring, but what can Magico and the rest of Cintanegra do? Well, there's only 2 of them rest. The E-Wave has to hit, does not, 3 dead, and the Knights surely get this point.
Yeah, this is such a tough position for Cintanegra now. It's a tied 1-1 game, but you can best believe the Knights are going to be able to capture this point here in just a few moments. They just have one more round of slays they need, and all the pressure coming from bridge side of the map. It's going to be a difficult chance for Cintanegra to even compete for this, coming from the same direction like that. Moments away once again, like I'm saying, but it's all because they decided to play for overshield at the start, and that overshield doesn't transition to much. Let that be a lesson that hill time is sometimes more important than some of the power upgrades that you could get in order to get some slays, right? If you're able to deny that overshield for even just a couple of seconds, that just means so much to the player on your team that's in the hill.
Cintanegra, though, have been able to position themselves for this second hill. Knights are flanking round behind, and there is going to be a couple kills going in favor of Cintanegra. Johan gets the second. There's 3 dead. Drift's going to be the last remaining player. He's got some big nades, but he's not able to get past the triple. Johan is stepping up yet again. He has been the difference maker so many times, and now he will allow Cintanegra to set up and score some big time in this hill.
You said it had to be him that stepped up here to be the lifeblood for Cintanegra to stay in this series. And look at that, because he gets the triple, he awards his team with the tower spawns, and they already have over halfway, make it 70% of this second hill. They need to tie this one up before it gets out of hand. Unfortunately, they're going to lose a couple of members, I believe. Front tower, Pelu does get a little bit of help, but still Johan back tower making plays as always.
When you say lose a couple of members, my heart stops and panics a little bit that maybe there was another power issue, but it's not. It's okay. The PCs are still on.
We need a
1-0 at the moment. It's going to be tied up very shortly, though, if Knights cannot stop this aggression from Cintanegra. You can see Drift desperately trying to find the last player, but Bullet got his shields back, and Bullet gets the trade. He had no rhyme or reason to actually be able to achieve that. And then look at the strafe we just saw top middle. Knights are giving this a good go. Heatwave in the hand of Atso. 2 are dead at the moment. He's just going to watch over top middle. Overshield is going to be popping. This is a good time for Knights to get a little bit of time and also try and secure that OV.
Yeah, I think Cintanegra, they're going to play for this overshield. But if the Knights are able to acquire this overshield, they may be able to flip this hill on its head. Unfortunately, not in a position to get it. And it's going to be up to Bullet now to try and kill the last player alive for the Knights. As his teammates able to hop in the hill, they're going to be able to tie this one up here momentarily again. And with the hill moving back into the house, it's going to be a good chance for Cintanegra to get right back into this series here. If they can take this game, they're able to tie this one up. Remember, it is the first of 3 points here, and as Bullet tries to make his way underneath, he needs to get there fast because it's all about spawns on this map, especially on a game type like King of the Hill, where the objective is on one side of the map typically at all times. Dan, if you're spawning back tower, it's a long traversal time to get over there.
Well, at least after the reset, we go back to where we were. 1-1, even though I think different hills were taken by different teams, but it doesn't matter. We get the same scoreline, all fair in love and war. But now we are going to see Cintanegra have the slight advantage in this next one. Johan trying to stay alive, but eventually gets sniffed out. And now this is going to be the chance for the Pittsburg Knights to push up on this one, but Bullet wins a big fight bottom middle to even up the numbers. And unfortunately, teammates are falling everywhere around him, and the Knights are going to gain control. They would if Guardian wasn't killing them. Eventually, Knights will start scoring, but has the damage been done? Can Cintanegra travel across this map quick enough to contest this hill? It looks like the answer is no, because Pelugod was in prime position to stop those top middle pushes.
Yeah, and look at this. The Knights, they're spawning on this side of the map, while Cintanegra, they're spawning on the complete opposite side. Such a long traversal time. Great shots out of Pelu. And as this hill is about to go into the Knights' favor, Overshield's coming up. This is a dire time for Cintanegra.
It's a tough time. 2-1 down. But at least it's not 3-0. At least they've got time to get back into this one. This is a tough hill, though. Overshield going to be popping as well. Johan in a position with this heat wave to be a nuisance bottom middle. Could make it a double kill here. Will do so, as now he looks to try and help the rest of the team, because elsewhere Tapping Buttons also got a double kill. The battle of the giants, but unfortunately the double kill more effective on the side of Knights, because Drift has been able to pick up that overshield, and we know overshield plus this hill usually means a point secured. Already so much time in favor of Knights.
So much time, so much position advantage as well. Drift able to play around this silo out here by the overshield so well, as he's able to turn from target to target to target, even shoots the nades before getting taken down to do a little bit of extra damage onto Magico. Look at that. Magico being half shields. Gonna make his stint, his ability to be aggressive just that much slower, but they do take over that hill dam before it's captured, and now it's a lot of work to do for Cintanegra, but the chance is still alive for them now.
Oh, big nade to take Magico down to no shields, and he's the last remaining player. So a lot of pressure to hit one of these shots to at least give his team a chance. Does connect with one body, but unfortunately for Cintanegra, Knights are there waiting, and they will get the third point on the board as we go to top middle in live fire. So now you've really got to start prioritizing that tower, of course, and who else to get closer towards it than Johan. He's got the repulsor in case he does need to get up there very quickly, but instead he uses it to send the player back, and he gets the final shot.
Let's talk about the mechanical skill there to repulse, nade, and shoot at the same time. So many small actions done. That's something beautiful about Halo Infinite, is when you're clicking on all cylinders, your micro skill can really showcase some of the small differences. You're able to separate yourself from one another here, and Johan just showing you a little bit of that in his bag of tricks, but gonna need to do a lot more here, as this top mid hill is so difficult to try and transfer over. You're down 2 hills at this point, and you got to find a way to transfer this one over. You will go down 3-0 in the series.
Yeah, because Knights are a little bit behind in this hill, they can afford to now just make this one as long as possible. Get into a position, just keep Cintanegra out of that hill. Very similar to bottom middle on streets. Play a little bit of Slayer, eat away at that clock, and make sure that you get even closer to securing this game. And as you say, going 3-0 up in the series, Drift will find Magico, the last remaining player who was bottom middle. And now he is just searching for Cintanegra members. It's a double kill. Does get stuck, but doesn't matter because they were able to stop so much time from being gathered from the Cintanegra roster.
Yeah, and all that time, Dan, that he was able to just deny the hill from being captured. You're probably wondering, why did he chase that guy bottom middle? Well, the clock now starting to become a factor in the scoreline, right? So every single second that hill is neutralized, it's another win condition in the right direction for the Knights.
Time being gathered. Knights now halfway through. They said we could play Slayer, but how about when we've got enough kills, we can actually put some decent time in this top middle hill. Bullet gets a double. Doesn't want to get too overzealous here. Doesn't need to look for loads of multi-kills. Instead, he just needs to be patient, wait for his team, wait for his shields, and start to gather some time. Because Cintanegra, they need this hill, and I feel like they need this game as well if they are going to come back into this series. If they go 3-0 down, that just seems like a mammoth task against the Pittsburg Knights, who have dominated this region for so long. Bullet, though, will get absolutely slammed by tapping buttons and his heat wave, but they are still scoring our Cintanegra. They have done very well to get 3 members of Knights down and put a lot of time into this hill.
They got to stop the push that's coming from Green, and Johan, he's forced to back up. He's going to have to leave his hill player alone. The Knights, they want to stop this one from going in the direction of Cintanegra, but Cintanegra need this point. Like you said, Dan, there's a couple of players for Johan to try and deal with, and he's actually playing his life so well right there that he probably is going to be able to award his team the point. But tapping buttons, repulses from bottom mid, denies hill time from being captured momentarily, and now all you need is a toe in the hill for Cintanegra to capture this point.
Remember what happened last time between these two? It was 3-3 and it went to a reset, and with only 1 minute left on the clock, that is definitely a possibility already. Cintanegra will get one back, and they are in this next hill. 2 members are down for Knights. Cintanegra are scoring. 3-3 is looking entirely probable, even at this point, unless Belugod can do something, but he gets taken out by Magico. Cintanegra continue to score, and the Knights just need to calm this one down. They were able to eat away at so much of the clock, but they need to manage to find an extra gear here to ensure they keep Cintanegra out of this hill.
Bullets gets taken down, and that's the entry pick. That's the entry pick the Knights need in order to collapse. Here comes Atso out the big door. Here comes players from the pillars. And the Knights, after getting that kill onto the bridge player, are going to be able to retake this setup. And now looking to try and end this one. There's a minute on the clock as well, Dan. So even if the Knights get taken down, if they can neutralize the hill for a minute, it'll work in their favor. But this hill, it's typically controlled at all times, I would say. So clock, maybe not as big of a problem for Cintanegra as we enter what I would say the last few stages of the game.
It's very difficult to play the clock on this hill. You are absolutely right. And Cintanegra are scoring, and arguably close to making it 3-3 as well, because 2 more have fallen from the Knights. Cintanegra are in position as well to watch the spawners. There's a trade that happens elsewhere. Drift also gets taken down. 3 are dead once more, and the point is going to be secured here. It's 3-3, and what a comeback from Cintanegra. One last hill, though, to try and split this. Otherwise, we would go to a reset, and it'd be first capture wins. Knights are in position, but Cintanegra will steal the position off them very quickly.
Only 2 Knights were in position because Cintanegra were able to stagger the respawns. They were able to kind of force split spawns there, Dan. That was massive by them. Somehow dealing damage to those players. Front tower blocked the spawns for the Knights. Because of that, they spawned house. Because of that, they had a 4-on-2 push. Then they were able to turn around. And in the meantime, Nasty Bullet has acquired the overshield.
Magico, though, with the heat wave against the sniper rifle, but Atso manages to just get the shot to help him. And the worrying sign is, when there's 36 seconds left on the clock and neither team has been able to get a huge chunk of time, you start to think, do we just accept a reset at this point? How hard do we commit to this hill? Atso has 1 bullet left in the chamber, will have to reload. Points will be scored. 2 are dead for Cintanegra. He drops the sniper, but okay, he's going to pick it back up. Maybe he was thinking a teammate was going to take it. Maybe he hit the wrong button, but maybe just by confusing himself, he left himself vulnerable to the grenade. And here comes Cintanegra. They are going to push in and try and take this hill for their own.
You can tell it's a little chaotic on the side of the Knights. That exchange of the snipe should have been very clear instructions to the teammate. Take this, or Atso should have just taken responsibility upon himself. Because there's a bit of a blunder, because they hesitate, they're not nearly applying the kind of pressure that they could have been if they were focused on the actual game at hand. Because of that, now Cintanegra have taken over the tower, and this is going to be a tough one to break then, and they're not going to have a respawn to do it. This game is over. Cintanegra are now down one game here in the reset of our grand finals.
Knights have thrown that one away. They were 3-1 up. They started to play time. Maybe they were hoping the clock would go in their favor. And then they were going back and forth. They were getting the hill. They weren't getting the hill. And in the end, Cintanegra kept taking advantage of it, and they kept playing for their lives. They knew what an important game this was. They knew they had to win this to stay alive in this series. And it means it is going to be 2-1. It means we are at least guaranteed a game 5, but I wouldn't have expected anything else between these two teams, because this has been nothing short than amazing in this grand final, and then grand final reset, of course, between these two giants in the LATAM region. Such an important win, Wes. This could have been a very different story if they were not able to secure it.
No, and they shouldn't have been able to. I think if you're Atso, you're kicking yourself right now, right? You should have been in a position, probably top tower, in order to play that situation so much differently with that snipe. Even the hill being neutralized, not the worst case in the world, but because the moment gets a little bit too big, you try to get too cute with dropping the snipe there. You lose not only yourself, your teammate goes down as well, because you're sitting there trying to have that micro conversation while the other team is focused on pushing you, and it's just not the time of day to do that, especially not in the grand finals, and it's going to cost them. Because that could be exactly what Cintanegra needed to get right back in this series. And what Cintanegra really needed was Magico to pop off. He dropped 31 that game.
31 kills, 28 for Bullet as well. An absolutely fantastic game from this roster, who arguably had their backs against the wall. Series on the line at that point. 3-1 down. And they are able to come back into things against the Pittsburg Knights, who are definitely going to be kicking themselves. I don't know how they threw that one away. Maybe they got a little bit too desperate with some of those hills in the final moments. I thought for sure we were going for a reset. I thought it was going to tie 3-3. No one was going to be able to get, that solid setup. You are right. Maybe just a little bit of a mistake. Maybe Drift not necessarily knowing what to do with that sniper rifle, and it could have changed things. But coulda, woulda, shoulda. Hindsight, all of that jazz doesn't matter now. All we know is that we are in to game number 4, and it's going to be a 2-1 lead for the Pittsburg Knights. And I think that if we can see the momentum gathered here by Cintanegra, then there is no reason why they can't use this as a driving force to get back into this series and also try and destroy the morale and confidence that Pittsburg Knights have had for the last few games, especially when we are going into Capture the Flag Catalyst. And again, Wes, it is another game we saw in the winners bracket finals, and it was a Cintanegra win. They won it 3-1 against the Pittsburg Knights, so they will be feeling so confident going into game 4.
You gotta swing momentum here if you're Cintanegra. If a better game type could be chosen, I don't think there's one on the list, Dan. I think Catalyst CTF, Cintanegra are gonna go in confidence, and the fact that they were able to steal game 3 to stay in this series, like you were saying, going down 3-0, you can best believe we're all punching our tickets out of this one. But I believe in Cintanegra now. After stealing game 3, the game 4 Catalyst CTF can be the momentum swinger that they need in order to get to that game 5. And dare I say, if they can take game 5 as a Slayer, we're talking about the potential reigning champs going down.
Gotta win the Slayer though, and we've seen how difficult those Slayers have been to win. But first, it's Capture the Flag on Catalyst, which is quite often absolute carnage, to use a different C word than maybe sometimes I might think. But 11:40 on the clock. Overshield is already grabbed as well. That is a very early Overshield grab. That was a very quick push. And where did he disappear to? Tapping buttons, just absolutely dipsy-doodling everyone, as Strongside used to say, and he's still alive.
Viva de Leche stays alive, milks his wife perfectly. Eventually gets taken down there. It does look like Cintanegra have broken off to an early lead. They have map control for now, and so often did we see with map control it transition into flag caps for Cintanegra.
You do have to start to wonder, how is the stamina of these players as we get into the late evening over in Mexico, the early morning over here in Europe. But wherever you are in the world, you know you are witnessing one of the greatest grand finals we've seen in HCS history in Halo Infinite. And it's difficult to call which way it's going to go. It looked for sure like the Pittsburg Knights were going to run through Cintanegra after their first two. But that third game now puts Cintanegra in with a shot. And going into capture the flag Catalyst, they've been so good at this game type. One is dead on the side of Knights. Flag has been pulled on both sides. We're going to get a little bit of a flag standoff here unless we can see a quick return. But Bullet is going to take down Atso. And Cintanegra look the more likely to score this one, Wes.
Yeah, the kills are going in the favor of Cintanegra now, but just as I say that, two go down, Dan, and that's probably going to be the next touch going to the Knights' favor. Johan, he had the right idea in dropping the flag and advancing on the map to try and potentially help the last player alive, but unfortunately wasn't able to get there in time. 3 are dead currently for the Knights as Overshield's coming up here in 3 seconds, Dan, and if you get this Overshield, it can mean so much to trying to get this return.
Who's brave enough to go for the overshield, though? That's the question. Because if you go for it and you fail, you leave your team at a numbers disadvantage. But it doesn't matter because Cintanegra, they were able to get the return before anyone even thought of the overshield. And they find themselves 1-0 up, and Drift, he gets absolutely dumped on by Johan. And Johan says, I tell you what, I'll put a few extra bullets in your body to let you know what's just happened.
You can tell Johan starting to feel momentum, even with the body disrespect there. That's confidence, Dan. That kind of confidence can roll through the team as well. Everybody's starting to click, and it has been all Cintanegra so far throughout this game. They find themselves up not just 1-0, but with a great opportunity in this flagpole to take a significant lead here to tie this series up.
3 were dead. Tapping Buttons was the last remaining player. He got into the base and he pulled the flag. Halo God has been able to get a kill onto Johan, but the flag doesn't get tossed in. Unfortunately, it kind of hit the wall as well, so it's going to be in an awkward spot. Hello God and the rest of Knights maybe going to try and go for a counter cap here because two were dead, 3 were dead. Flag still moving, and they've got the return. What's going to be the opportunity strategy now for Cintanegra? Are they going to be able to get into the base to stop this one? Great grenades. 2 are dead. This is back and forth. This is bloody mental.
Bloody mental. Bloody. The Spartans on the Knights right now, they go down several members. All 4 of them actually get taken down. This return has got to come through, but nades from Tapping Buttons with the triple kill off screen gets the touch on the flag, Dan, and that was a massive one to tie this game up. Somehow Tapping comes off spawn, has perfectly placed grenades, hits the shots to pair with them, and gets there in the nick of time to touch the flag.
Forget Tapping Buttons, he is slapping buttons right now. He is hammering them as hard as he can to ensure that he does what he can to help this Knights roster try and get closer and closer to winning this grand final and really lifting that trophy that they probably feel like they deserve after the years they've had and how dominant they have been throughout this scene. Now, 1-1, all tied up. 7 minutes 50 still on the clock, still loads of time for these two teams, but Knights are going to be moving this flag. But unfortunately, Pelugon is going to go down as well. 2 down on both sides. Bullet going to be able to get the return perhaps, but Drift alongside Atso are going to take him down, and this flag keeps moving.
What a sight line for the Knights to have across the map to get that player off the return, and who better than Atso to be in a position to get the touch, to finish the run, to take the lead. The Knights have now taken the lead here in Game 4. They do not want this series to go the distance. Game 7 was great the first time around, but you got to think they want to put a punctuation on this championship. Like you said, they've been working their tails off for years to be in this position. They have to capture this moment.
Nice shots again from Bullet. You need someone to step up again on Cintanegra. You need to answer back to the individual quality we just saw from Tapping Buttons on the other side. A game-winning moment, perhaps, with that triple kill and then getting the flag run, but Bullet now moving a flag of his own. 2 are dead on the side of the Pittsburg Knights, but look at this contest. That's going to be a big fight. Bullet trying to stay alive, but Drift gets the kill. Will be an assist, though. Magico's there to pick up the flag and pick up the pieces here for Cintanegra, but the grenades, Wes, the grenades again are absolutely on point for these teams.
Good trade from Tapping to finish that sword player off. The flag gets stalled over here on the right side of the map, or the side of the Knights, but they got to get the return. There's one more player to deal with. It's Johan. He's been a pain in their rear for too long. as he's able to stay alive. Does he get the touch is the question. He does. He gets the touch. Johan creating chaos still. Even when he was down numbers, he's bought enough time for the rest of Cintanegra to show up. And Magico, he's got flag in hand, and he's going to be able to tie this game up. And that's all because Johan just stays alive and plays the situation perfectly.
It's these individual clutch moments, isn't it? Clutch, it's Johan, it's tapping buttons, it's players stepping up in the grand final on the biggest stage in front of probably the biggest crowd that they've played in front of in quite some time. 2-2. Everything slows down and it's a little bit quieter here on Catalyst, but as we say that elsewhere, Guardian has been able to pick up a kill. Tapping buttons goes down. 3 are dead on the side of Knights. Pelu got the last remaining defense here, and he gets a great pre-nade, which will allow him to surely stop any sort of flag pull.
Oh, you thought the 4 was going to come through for Magico, just one shot off, but even better shots on the side of the Knights right there as the map slows down for just a moment. It gets reset. Cintanegra leading in slays for now, but the Caps remain 2-2, under 5 minutes to play. And you see the Knights want to be aggressive, but they're running into members of Cintanegra that just have better opportunity, better positioning than them. And just like that, you close your eyes for just a moment, then 3 go down for the Knights. It's going to be Cintanegra with full map control for now.
And the slays that we're seeing from Cintanegra are far superior than their opponents, but being in the right place at the right time were Knights, or maybe Cintanegra just running that flag the wrong way, maybe not knowing which side was spawning, whether it be gold, whether it be Ivy, and on the back of it, Atso now can run this flag for the Pittsburg Knights, using the repulsor just to project that flag a little bit further. And here's the patience. He was waiting. He was baiting. He was hoping that someone was going to walk around that corner, but he's got to make it count, and Johan eludes him for long enough to allow a teammate to come and join the fray. His flag is still out, but I don't think it's going to be touchable. Drift is going to be the player to get closest to it. And on the other side, Guardian now moving a flag.
Yeah, Guardian consistently focused on the objective. Once again, pulling the flag. He's unscathed. He's got it across halfway, running it up his ramp. I'm not quite sure he's going to be able to punch this one in, though. But as he takes a look at the observer mode, no return in for him yet, so he's got to stall. But there's multiple members of Knights around him now on this ramp. He's got Atso in front, tapping in the back. He gets rid of Atso. That's massive. Tapping looks lost, and because of it, Guardian gets the double. Pelu, he's gonna have to try and milk his life here. He's got to stay alive, but there's 3 members of Cintanegra surrounding him. They're gonna be able to get the return, and with the help of Guardian making one of the most incredible plays of the day, they're gonna take the lead here in game 4.
It's another flag standoff, and it's another one going in favor of Cintanegra. Knights took the lead for a short while, but Cintanegra answered back in such an emphatic fashion. And now they are just 3 minutes away from tying up this series as well. But I don't feel like that is going to be the last flag that we'll see put into its capture point on this game. Cintanegra lose a few. The Knights starting to get a little bit more aggressive, but Johan has a sword in his back pocket. And I'm sure he's going to be putting it to use very quickly. Pelugod not able to escape with the skewer. And there is kills going on left, right, and center. And so many big fights being won by this Cintanegra roster. They are absolutely firing right now as Bullet makes it all 4 dead.
Specifically, Guardian really picking up his play here. If you want to win a championship, everybody's got to start making plays. And Guardian taking it into his own hands continuously, starting to win some pivotal battles that have determined the score here 3-2. 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock, Dan. And if you're Knights, you start to feel the pressure of this series being tied up all of a sudden.
Cintanegra had lost 3. Knights, they wanted to fly in. You could see that Atso really wanted to push into that base, but he was aware that spawn's going to be happening anywhere. But in the end, his life is shortened by a couple of grenades. A good trade as well to get a double. Guardian, we've seen what he can do with the battle rifle, but he's also got a skewer in his back pocket. And I wonder whether Cintanegra are just going to play a little bit more defensive now they have a lead with 2 minutes to go here, Wes.
Yeah, they're going to get defensive minded, you'd have to think, but honestly, 2 minutes is such a lot of time, right? You need to acquire this overshield, remove it from the potential win conditions from the Knights, and they get a couple of kills, so this should be their overshield going into their hands as well. Although Pelu has been able to pick up a kill, I believe, before getting taken down. But as he gets taken down in the kill feed, that should surely mean Cintanegra not only have the skewer to play around, but the overshield as well.
Magico trying to be sneaky, does get spotted out, should win the first, but the grenades eventually shut him down, maybe quicker than he would have liked. And Johan's playing it slow, because he's the last remaining player up. And if he can get a kill here, it can be so effective. It can really ruin any sort of push, any sort of chance of capturing. But there we go. Tapping buttons connects with the skewer. That's the initial pick that you need. Does he know there's another player, though? Does he know that Guardian's there? Does anyone know? Yes, they do. Two are dead. Knights now can run this flag. But are they running it the right way? No, they're running it into Bullet. They've got to be careful that Bullet doesn't manage to take one of these down here.
Yeah, Bullet actually overextended. He's got a teammate with him. It's up to Bullet and Johan to try and take down the 3 members from the Knights. They get the first, and they're able to stall this flag run. Multiple players from the Knights are actually dropped to no shield due to the grenades. And did they buy enough time is the big question to ask the Cintanegra fans here, because although great damage came from Johan and Bullet, they get taken down, and now it's up to Guardian and 1v3 to try and stop this one. He gets taken down from Drift, and now all of a sudden with 25 seconds, this one's going in. Dan, we're looking at a potential overtime situation.
Overtime on the horizon. 20 seconds left before we get those extra minutes on the clock, and of course that reset of the spawns as well. Is anyone gonna be brave enough to go for a pull? Drift was thinking about it, but he gets spotted out. Bullets on the defensive and eventually will secure that kill. What about the other side? Anyone to get a pull? Does not look like it's going to happen, so there is going to be overtime. We do get a little bit of a breather for these teams, but not a long breather. 3-3 and an extra set of minutes to try and decide who's going to be winning this one. This has been an amazing game number 4.
An amazing game 4, and let's talk just briefly about that last cap that we saw the Knights be able to get, Dan. As Tapping came into the base, he found the pick. He and Drift were pushing up towards the flag. They realized, hey, it is way too quiet for us to be able to pull this flag. Where are the members of Cintanegra? They sniff out the rat in the back of the base, and because Drift is able to get that kill, it almost guarantees that the Knights were able to punch that third flag in and tie that one up before overtime.
The amount of overtimes, the amount of resets we've seen between these two teams just shows how close they are in terms of their skill level, and that is an amazing thing for this region, considering how far the Pittsburg Knights have been ahead for so long now. They finally have someone who's really challenging them, pushing them to the brink, but this flag is on the move, and it could be the last flag for the Pittsburg Knights, but he doesn't get around the corner, and Cintanegra now have the player advantage. Johan has the sword. He's watching over it. 2 players there to try and get the return. Grenades coming in from the Knights. Pelugod has got the touch, and he's got away, but he needs to help the team. 2 fall. There's one last player. It's Guardian. Can he actually do something with his grenades? Pelugod says, actually, screw Guardian. Let's move this flag. The Knights should be able to punch this one in, and they will go 3-1 up in this series.
What an overtime performance on the side of the Knights. It was Drift getting that flag on the move, and he basically gets it all the way to his base, allows the respawners to impact the flag run with some beautiful grenade placement. They're able to deny the return, which you thought was going to come in from the side of Guardian and the boys, but just not enough presence towards your objective. That's the big risk on that map, Dan. If that flag gets on the move, it can quickly end up on the other team's half. That's all they needed in order to compete for it, and with that competition, they were able to come out on top, and now just one game to go to claim this championship.
Just one more game. We've heard one more game be chanted through that crowd many a time this evening, and perhaps they need to keep chanting it if they want to see us go further, because it seems like the Pittsburg Knights have finally found their form in this tournament. I know they were 3-0ing all the other teams, but Cintanegra, their first real test, and they found themselves dropping into that elimination bracket, but they've come back, they've reset it, and now they're one game away, as you say, from calling themselves the champions of the HCS MX Regionals. Wow, what a game indeed. Maybe we can take a look at the kills perhaps and see who really was the standout player, but to be honest, screw the stats. I just think that was an amazing team performance. Everyone stepped up when they needed to. It's going to be a bitter pill to swallow for Cintanegra, because they were so close, Wes, to tying up this series.
So close. But close doesn't count, man. You got to make one more play if you're on the side of Cintanegra, and I mean, this was very close to a grand final sweep in the second best of 7, but they were able to steal that third game. Now you find yourselves down 3-1. You do go into a Slayer, and Dan, that's the bad news for this Cintanegra squad, is the Slayers, they have not been friendly to them today.
They have not. The only time, though, that we've seen them win a Slayer against Pittsburg Knights was in the winners' final, and it was Recharge Slayer, which is going to be the next game type. But of course, in the previous best of 7, Recharge Slayer went in favor of the Pittsburg Knights. So both of them have won it today. So who are we going to see? Are we going to see the winners bracket final Cintanegra on this map, or are we going to see the grand final Pittsburg Knights? And I know which one I'd be leaning toward after what I've seen in this second best of 7. But Recharge Slayer, the final chance for Cintanegra. Otherwise, Knights are going to be the champions. They will be the ones lifting the trophy. And even though they were the ones predicted to do so, I know full well there are a lot of people in that arena who would have been hoping that Cintanegra could have gone on that fairy tale, that Cinderella story, to become champions themselves and topple the giants. But they've got to pick it up, Wes. They've got to find and dig deep here. Otherwise, they are going to fall short against the Pittsburg Knights in not just 1, but 2 best of 7s.
It's now or never, and digging deep isn't easy when it's this late in the night, when you might not have the fuel in the tank in order to get the job done. But if we've learned anything about the Cintanegra roster, is that they're going to shock us, they're going to surprise us, they're going to create some opportunity for themselves. The Slayers, like we said, haven't been good, and it's been on the back of some power-up control that they've lacked. And as I say that, I believe there was a player that had the ability to potentially sneak away with that camo. Fortunately, though, he's going to get away with... He's going to get taken down, so Cintanegra fans can rest easy for now. The power-up's not going to create too much of a difference here at the start of the game. And in fact, they've jumped out to a 4-2 lead.
It's a great start for Cintanegra. A kill for every player as well. That's going to do wonders for everyone's confidence and make them believe that they still are alive in this series. And they're not going to fall short and fall at this final hurdle after being so far ahead in this race. 7-4. Nice shots coming out from Pelugol, but not nice enough. Cintanegra extend their lead. They double the scoreline over the Knights. Shock rifle now in hand of Johan, and we've seen this before this tournament. He is deadly with this weapon, and if he can start to heat up, he can keep Cintanegra's hopes alive.
Gotta make a play, Johan. Gotta hit a shot. Can you find Tapping's head? No. Just briefly misses that one, and you don't want to overextend with this weapon. I feel like so often we're seeing over challenges in this situation. Just Johan needing to play his life right now. Up 9-4, Cintanegra. You're able to slow this one down and play at your pace for what feels like the first time in the series.
Things are slowing down. Tapping buttons maybe look to try and speed things up, though. We saw how slow the Recharge Slayer was in the previous best of 7. But then as soon as Tapping Buttons and the rest of the Pittsburg Knights had control, it completely sped up, and they won by 13 kills. I think it was 50-37 in the end. But right now, they can't really find that same kind of pattern of play. They're down by 7. Magico makes it down by 8. Cintanegra, they are still alive in this tournament, still alive in this series. Great grenades as well. They've done a lot of damage, and if I'm Magico, I'm screaming to my teammates, saying that long haul, they're all weak. We can collapse, but oh, what a shot from Drift to make sure he gets shot down.
Yeah, beautiful shot from Drift, but good information. Drift actually hits another one as we see a switch of point of views. Now we're on board with Drift. He's hit 2 shock rifle shots in a row that were pretty incredible. Gonna have to do a little bit more work to get this game even closer. Spots Magico, takes Magico, and knows that players are going to be over in the pipes. You can tell by the reticle placement. He knows that the enemy team is going to be in this pipe situation, but look at Johan. He's got sword out. You can tell from the observer mode, but it doesn't matter. Drift hits the shot to make the difference. All of a sudden, it's a 5-kill game because Drift has done it himself.
Pings the sword and says, I don't need it. I've got a shock rifle. It actually won the battle against the sword. The curve slide into the sword, and I think he gave that player a fright of his life.
Gave me
what a shot it was.
That was one of the best sequences I've ever seen, and I wish we had seen the first 2 shots, but just knowing what he did was incredible.
Well, he still has that shock rifle. He can still put on a show for us, but we switch away and watch Guardian die instead. And Bullet now is going to be trying to do what he can for Cintanegra to stay alive, but 2 of his teammates have fallen. I like the play. He's going to get the repulsor just in case he has to eject someone off the map if he gets pushed, but he's able to slow it down enough so that teammates get the spawn. But just like that, Knights are now within 3. It was once an 8-kill difference, but thanks to Drift and the shots he's been hitting, the Knights are very much caught up here.
Yeah, and that's everything the Knights needed to try and end this series on this game, right? This was looking like a Cintanegra Slayer win potentially very early on. They were starting to run away with it, and then all of a sudden all it does is take one Drift to potentially be the difference maker. Can't hit Magico or Johan, but the shots are so close, and Drift, he wants a little bit more of that cup. Takes Johan's head off, and that's the pick that they need in order to be aggressive. And look at that, perfect time for camo, and who better to get it Drift with this shock rifle?
2020 all tied up. As it is, of course, match point, series point, tournament point here for Drift. And the Knight squad, and he's just connecting with everything. He stays alive, and he punishes this Cintanegra roster for not killing him. And somehow, he is absolutely running through them. Surely not, surely not. How is he still alive? How has this man not been taken down? How is he putting on this much of a show? How is he this confident in the grand final, Wes?
The kids are asleep. It's parental warnings here. Drift doing some things I haven't seen done quite yet to a team right now to keep his team in this. All of a sudden, Dan, it's a 5-kill lead for the Knights, and it's on the back of Drift just absolutely dominating this Recharge Slayer.
11 kills for Drift. Tapping buttons also adding to that total as well. It's now a 6-kill lead for Knights against Cintanegra, excuse me. They were 8 kills down, and they've been able to flip this completely. The script was saying that Cintanegra should have got it back, but then Drift changed it entirely, and Drift is still hitting shots elsewhere, may I add. Tapping buttons goes down, but Drift's still alive. What can Johan do, though? We talk about the individuals, we talk about stepping up. I bet that Johan would love to have that shock rifle in his hand so that he could be the difference maker. But at the moment, Drift still has it, and Drift is still doing things. But finally, he gets the killjoy. Finally, Drift goes down, and maybe that is what Cintanegra need to get back into this game.
And it's just the manner that Drift gets taken down, right? He is flying at 2 players and pipes shock rifle out. The confidence is running through his veins, and it's transferred over to the players sitting right next to him now. Drift is 13, 4, and 5, but Pelu with sword in hand trying to make a difference as well, trying to end this game. They're up 5. What was once a Cintanegra blowout at the start of this game has turned into the Drift show.
It has been the Drift show indeed. Cintanegra, though, within 5 and still looking threatening, but that's a big kill. A couple of big kills. It's tapping buttons. When you talk about big kills, you know full well it's going to be either Drift or tapping. Atso also getting involved in the action, and it looks like we are getting closer and closer to maybe crowning some champions here, unless Cintanegra can find something. Can they find a second wind here? No, because tapping buttons is running through them. Atso's got his favorite gun, the plasma pistol, and all the pieces are starting to form now here for the Pittsburg Knights.
I mean, take a step back and look at how impactful Drift has been. We'll look at tapping button stats as well. 15, 2, and 6. Although we've seen the highlight reel Drift's put on for us, tapping has got to be doing something right with those kind of numbers, and that's been the difference here for the Knights in the second half of this game. 41-32, 9 kills to separate these two teams in this grand finals, and the championship crown, it can almost be felt on the head of the Knights.
Knights had it all to do. They came into this grand finals needing to win not just 1 but 2 best of 7s. Buller, though, gets a kill, and the push comes through. The aggression is there, but oh wow, Drift manages to get some more impactful kills to put them just 5 kills away from calling themselves champions here. Johan doing what he can, but perhaps it's just a little bit too late here. Cintanegra will try and slow this one down, but with Knights only needing 5, you know full well they're going to charge in, but that could be a huge kill, taking the sword down.
Massive. He actually slides in front of his teammate. The sword player's so focused on trying to get to his teammate that he eats the melee from Johan. Perfectly played the bait and switch situation onto a sword carrier. You never see that one work out typically, but needing everything to go in their direction here for the side of Cintanegra. They got to stay alive, find a way to get these kills, and Atso, his shots are good. They take down Johan, and now just 2 kills is all the Knights need.
All they need indeed. They're getting aggressive. They've got the 49th, and Cintanegra will cower in the corner. They will hide away from this Knights roster. They've been trying to hide all game, but Knights are too aggressive, and they get the final kill. Drift celebrates. The Pittsburg Knights, their reign continues. It was a difficult journey for them, and boy, did they put on a spectacle, but in the end, they once more are crowned champions here. HCS MX Regional Champions are going to be the Pittsburg Knights. It was never in doubt, Wes. It was never in doubt.
I'm going to say it was in doubt just a little bit. I think we have to give props to Cintanegra, the show that they were able to put on all weekend long, especially in the winners bracket finals and the grand finals. Hats off to them. They played lights out. We didn't even know they had it in them to play at that level of Halo, but it's only right that the Pittsburg Knights come out on top at the end of the day for this region. They have put in so much work for this moment, so much time across the past 3-4 years towards the end of Halo 5, and these guys, they've worked their tails off to achieve this goal. And it's a massive congratulations to the superstars on stage, and I can't wait to see these guys in Orlando.
They have put on a show for us all weekend long, and it was a little bit worrying at times as Master Chief, he's going to be the one to grab the trophy, it would seem. He's the winner. You know, Halo is the winner of this tournament at this point.
You better put my trophy down, Chief, is what I would be saying.
Surely he passes this off, right?
Hands off my championship trophy is what I would be saying right now, Chief. I don't care how close we are, how far we go back.
Halo is the real winner here, is the message I'm taking away from this, but surely he's going to hand this over to the true champions.
What if he just walked off?
The Pittsburg Knights. Here it is. This is the moment they've waited for. 4 years we've waited for a LAN in Mexico. The Pittsburg Knights, they were dominating back then, and they're going to be dominating once more, I'm sure. Your HCS MX Regional Champions are the Pittsburg Knights, and eventually Master Chief, I'm sure, will hand them this trophy, Wes.
All jokes aside, congratulations to these guys. So much talent, so much practice and preparation goes into moments like this, and we get to witness it here this weekend, the greatness that these players, this team has become, but it really has been behind the scenes, day in, day out, week in, week out. I've watched these guys compete for such a long time, a well-deserved championship to their name, and we'll see what they can do on the international stage here in a few months.